Oh wait, should I be playing? Oh, I should probably be playing a song. I gotta play a banger. Is this back on Spotify? Oh no, it's still not there. Ugh, it's so good though. It's an unreleased D4BD song. Oh, I know he's a psycho, but he makes some. Oh, this is a banger.
Said you forgot how I was, now I'm on your face. Better get out the way, little nigga.
Okay, well, I can't really say
do I
that.
gotta keep telling you niggas that having them guns ain't gonna make you a killer? Do you wanna fight? Right. Rather go pull out a pistol, you pussy, it's simple. Why the fuck these niggas still feel the need to keep festing the bitches? That car was a rental. If I was a killer, I wouldn't start shooting too quick. I would aim straight for the window. Niggas be sweet in that gang, get this shit to your brain. It's by the time you start changing your mental. Niggas like you ain't rich yet, cause I'm putting up checks and I'm flexing my back cover dentist. I'ma go up in this bitch that's robbing, but you can keep sleeping on me, bro, you got it. Sooner or later, you gon' have to stop it, cause I'm be lit as a bitch when I'm popping. You spend time with the whole laughing and shopping while I'm spending time
What's
here
up,
like
chat?
even the labels been never don't knocking. I'm not keep working. It's time to go clock it. Like why even play with me, nigga? You got a gun, my gun a little bigger. If you try to take on my cake, no, I won't hesitate on my mama. I'm pulling that trigger. I can't even lie. Don't like promoting the violence, but it's hard when you trying to come gentle. Positive symbol, big dog boy, you ain't never gonna play biz. That one too little, okay? Guess they forgot I was getting them figures. Said you forgot how I was, now I'm all in your face. Better get out the way, little nigga. How many times do I gotta keep telling you niggas that having them guns ain't gonna make you a killer? Do you wanna fight? Right. Rather go pull out a pistol, you pussy, it's simple. Why the fuck these niggas still feel the need to keep festing the bitches? That car was a rental. If I was a killer, I wouldn't start shooting too quick. I would aim straight for the window. Niggas be sweet in that gang, get this shit to your brain. It's by the time you start changing your mental. Niggas like you ain't rich yet, cause I'm putting up checks and I'm flexing my back cover. Man, I done walked in this bitch and got mad at little bro, so I stepped on this motherfucking neck. Niggas ain't talking about nobody else. I done walked in this bitch, had to earn my respect. Ain't LeBron, but rapper, so after I finish my show, better make sure you cut me a check. And you better stop fucking talking whenever I'm talking. This shit trying to rush roulette. I turn around in the listen. Bitch, I'm a baller, I stay on my pivot. You don't know smoke, better stay at a distance. Having that chicken, better come straight for whoever you're picking. This rabbit shit chose me, I ain't had to pick it. So many hits, you can bet I ain't missing. Niggas talking about he was hitting shit up, but you ain't hitting shit up unless you done did it, bitch. Guess they forgot I was getting them figures. Said you forgot how I was, now I'm all in your face. Better get out the way, little nigga. How many times do I gotta keep telling you niggas that having them guns ain't gonna make you a killer? Do you wanna fight? Right. Rather go pull out a pistol, you pussy, it's simple. Why the fuck these niggas still feel the need to keep festing the bitches? That car was a rental. If I was a killer, I wouldn't start shooting too quick. I would aim straight for the window. Niggas be sweet in that gang, get this shit to your brain. It's by the time you start changing your mental. Niggas like you ain't rich yet, cause I'm putting up checks and I'm flexing my back cover dentist.
I'm trying to find a fifth video. I don't see nothing. The serial killer who watched his own movie? Why is it only 10 minutes long? Okay. Hold on. I want to find like one more video because some of these is... This isn't going to fill up a huge amount. Yo, we go find one more. I'm gonna find one more real quick. The most... No. How dirty money becomes clean. Body cam footage. Who the fuck is snapping me right now? Whoa, what did I just click on? The hunt for Ted Bundy? Yeah, sure. No. The man who executed the most perfect... This guy uses AI for his videos, though. Fuck all that. How a genius engineer stole 30 million through a wall nobody protected. Unknown true crime cases. I don't fucking know what to do. I want some like philosophical shit. Give me something good. I do have some shit to say before we start this reaction, though. There's a few things I want to talk about real quick. Just give me a second to find something. We need like one more video. Let's do this one. All right, we got two Johnny Harris videos because he's a baller. We gotta watch. Okay, yeah, we have two of them. Okay, we go start with one of them. And then we have like we have a 3 true lonely cabin horror stories. We're just going to make fun of that one because those ones are always terrible. Why is this one playing? Okay, yeah. So, okay, we got 5 good videos today. But there is something I want to talk about because I'm a little pissed off. I haven't been live for like, how long? Like 4 days? There's a reason, okay? There's a reason, I promise. Fucking A. Okay, hold on. When was the last time I went live? Hello? How do I even see? Oh my gosh. Oh, 5 days. Okay, listen, there's a reason, okay? There's a fucking reason, I promise. Look. About, like, 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago? Lock in. A few days ago, I wake up 4 a.m., you know? I have work in 2 hours. I have work at 6:30, I wake up at 4 a.m. I go outside, I get, like, you know, some sweatpants, a hoodie. I go outside, I run a mile, 6:35 time, by the way, no big deal. I go inside, I eat like this fire breakfast sandwich that I had in the freezer. I have some ice cold brew. I put some ice on my face, got a de-bloat, you know how it is. I'm like, it's gonna be a good day. I get dressed for work, hair's looking good. I go outside, I look at my beautiful black Hyundai 2022 Elantra, and I see a note on the windshield. This John right here. I see that note on the windshield. And I think, I'm not panicking yet, right? Because I just see a note on the windshield and I get a few of those, okay? Because of my parking spot, I have to be in between a fire hydrant and a mailbox. And I have to keep like 10 feet in between. It's like the rules, right? So I get notes on my car pretty frequently if I'm too close to one of them. And it's either one of two things. The mailman is fucking whining about not having enough space. I'm sorry, postman. Is the 9 feet not enough for you to put a letter in a box? Sorry. Or it's my whiny neighbor complaining about being too close to the fire hydrant. I don't understand why the damage to my car from that, like, water hose on steroids is gonna affect you in any way. But she bitches to me constantly. So that's the note I'm expecting, right? I go up to my car, I get the note off. First thing I read, hey, I'm sorry. Immediately, my heart drops all the way to my ballsack. I read the next line, and it says, I accidentally backed into your mirror. I start reaching for the 22 in my waistband, okay? I look around in my car. My mirror is in perfect resemblance to a middle-aged man with an erectile dysfunction. I mean, holy fucking performance issues. It's hanging off my car with one electrical wire. I'm like, I see this, right? And I'm like, okay, it's just a mirror. It's probably like $500 to replace, plus the body shop fucking me with labor, so another $400. It's going to be about like a $900 to $1,000 bill that I don't have to pay because I read the next line and it says, I have insurance. So I'm not panicking yet, right? Because, you know, it's not going to be too expensive. I'm also not the one paying it. So I'm like, you know, $1,000 that some other bitch is paying, who cares? I'm like, it could still be a good day. I keep looking around. There's a 3-inch dent in the side of my fucking door. So that $1,000 bill just turned into about $35 for the whole fucking door. So what I thought was going to be an easy fix is actually an opportunity for an insurance company to take me to a 7-course meal before they skull fuck me. So that was my past few days. I've been dealing with that. So I didn't go live because I had to go to a body shop and get a quote. Also, this person does not fucking respond. Yeah, so that was my day. It was super fun. Also, a few other things I do have to say. I'm having lots of PC issues. So, PC keeps shutting off when I open a game. You guys know about this. I've complained about it multiple times. The PC keeps randomly shutting off. So I think I have to get a new power supply and new RAM, which will add up to about $320, which I don't have because I'm broke. So we're not going to be playing games for a little bit, but I am going to try to still pump out as much content as possible, but it's going to be hard when I don't have very many things to work with. But I'll try and figure it out. And I've been very inconsistent the past 2 weeks because shit's been happening, okay? But we're doing reactions today. The AC is so fucking loud in this room. I also need to decorate my room. I need some fucking recommendations because I'm not trying to use that phone AI bullshit. I'm not trying to do that. I'm going to get water before we start this reaction, but the first video is The real story of Donald Trump. Let's hope I don't blow my fucking head off trying to watch this. All right, I'm gonna get some water real quick. Stream Deck, lock in. Stream Deck, lock in. Stream Deck. I need you to lock in. Stream Deck. Come on, figure it out. Okay, whatever. It's fine. Oh, count me down like 20 seconds.
Battery 80%.
Cool, thank you. Let's get started. The real story of Donald Trump. It's 40 minutes long. Okay, whatever. Lock in.
I've been trending my whole life. From the day I was born, I've been trending.
I like the good publicity and I like the bad publicity. It all plays.
Who is Donald Trump? A while back, I realized that for all the attention Trump gets, I actually didn't know much about his life, how he rose to become one of the most powerful people on the planet, and what his life and career can teach us about what he really wants. I didn't know any of that, so I delved
Power! That's what he really wants.
in to try to better understand how he rose to power, and most importantly, why
I'm not holding back this video at all. I'm saying everything that comes to mind.
there are so many products with his name and face on them.
It is not a toupee, okay?
Okay?
All right.
I'm not convinced.
Please inform the public.
So join me as we explore the rise of Donald Trump.
Rich, ruthless, and famous, known for the buildings he's built and the wives he's divorced.
Let's take a few of these if I'm going to be watching a video like this. I gotta be nice and relaxed so I don't put a foot-sized hole in my fucking monitor. Is that a real person? I think that's a lizard.
He played Monopoly, but more than Monopoly, he played with building blocks. Always with building blocks.
Donald Trump was born in Queens, New York, a river away from the gleaming skyline of Manhattan. He was a middle child of 5 kids, the son of an immigrant mother from Scotland who ran
Interesting.
the Trump home and who was known for her charitable work in the community.
But it's a white one. It doesn't count.
But in Trump's telling, his father was his greatest influence.
My father built low and moderate income housing in Brooklyn and Queens.
His dad made a big fortune taking advantage of post-World War II government programs that funded affordable housing complexes during New York's rapid growth. By all accounts, Fred Trump was an obsessively hard worker, saying that he was successful because he could, quote, squeeze 9 days of work into a 7-day work week. Growing up, young Donald was the rich kid on the block. But even still, his hardworking father forced him to have a newspaper delivery route to teach him hard work. Though apparently when it rained, his dad would drive him around on his newspaper route in his Cadillac.
This guy's real consistent. What is this ad? Oh, it's AI. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. Good job, guys. I'm fucking sick of this. Yeah, we're doomed. We're doomed. We're doomed.
Fred Trump focused on teaching his son the ways of the real estate business, taking young Donald to construction sites from a very young age. He instilled in his son a deep drive to win at anything you do, to be the winner. He would tell Donald that he was raising him to be a king, and that he must become a killer at anything he did. He was tough on
If that's not manifestation at its finest, I don't know what is.
Donald, because he wanted him to be a winner. At school, Donald Trump was, in his own words, aggressive. His music teacher, who died in 2015, once said that, quote, there are certain children who need attention all of the time. He was one of those. and even punching that music teacher in the face. Apparently.
You know what's funny? If there's a Trump supporter watching this right now, he probably heard that and was like, fuck yeah! Like, y'all are cornballs, bro.
Giving him a black eye because, quote, I didn't think he knew anything about music. I mean, he was like in elementary school. But it does show you some of this personality that starts to shape up from a young age. Trump says in his book that he focused on creating mischief because for some reason, quote, I liked to stir things up. I liked to test people. It wasn't malicious, it was just aggressive. You can read a lot more about this in his book, The Art of the Deal, where he talks a little bit about his
promise I'm not buying it.
Childhood, as well as this really well-reported biography, Trump Revealed. I pulled a lot from these sources in my reporting here.
Do you think he wrote those? Or did someone else do it?
Anyway.
One of the great choices I ever made in terms of success was the choice of going to NYMA, New York Military Academy.
Trump's father, Fred, obsessed with hard work and discipline, sent Donald to military boarding school to live full-time when he was just 13 years old. And this is where Donald Trump really starts to thrive.
It was a good education. It was a good training. It was a good training. I enjoyed it.
From my reading, this military academy was pretty intense. It was a place where, quote, physical brutality and verbal abuse were tolerated and encouraged, both in hazing new students and physical disciplining from teachers. Trump actually thrived on this kind of intense structure. It helped
Who would have thought that?
fire up his competitive nature, and soon he would be getting good grades and winning medals for things like having the cleanest room, or the shiniest shoes, or the best made bed, all while going around telling fellow students that, quote, I'm going to be famous someday. And this is where I want to start to make a list of some of Donald Trump's core beliefs that start to become clear from a young age. This is stuff we'll see over and over again, and I want to make a list. First and foremost, the guy is obsessed with winning. You see this all over his childhood and the rest of his life.
I was a great baseball player.
What position?
Yeah, I could have guessed that too, though. When he lost the election, he had his fans storm the fucking White House.
First base, catcher, first base.
Trump was super into baseball. His baseball coach recounts that, quote, Donald always...
So was Hitler. I'm not making any connections. I'm just seeing a pattern, okay?
Always had to be number one in everything. He would do anything to win, and he wanted people to know that he was first. So teenage Donald Trump spends the school year thriving at military academy, eventually rising to the rank of captain over the rest of the cadets, and then spending summers back in Queens working with his dad, learning the ways of the real estate business. Both of these experiences are very formative and lay the foundation of who he will become and what he will do in his future. That future continues when he goes off to college.
I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
Trump gets into college, and he still doesn't know exactly what direction he's going to take. He considers going to film school in LA to become a filmmaker.
Like, it's just fucking word soup, dude. I have the best words, quite frankly. No one has better words than me. Shut the fuck
My
up!
other fantasy as I got older was...
Oh my god, the 2 cents this guy provides to every single conversation is the reason why America is getting rid of pennies.
to do movies. I wanted to be a movie maker.
Man, what an alternative world that would be. Donald Trump, the movie director.
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
I like keeping a low profile.
If only. But ultimately, he decided to follow his father's path. He studies economics and business, and this is like during
Didn't he host SNL at one point? I thought he did.
the 70s. There's a war going on in Vietnam. Young men are being recruited, but Trump qualifies for an educational deferment, meaning he gets out of the draft 4 times because he's going to college. Once he got out of school, he would have been eligible for the draft, but he qualified once again for a deferral because of a problem with his heel bone. Though there is some controversy around this, because the doctors who wrote Trump's deferral recommendation both lived and or worked in buildings owned by Fred Trump, Donald Trump's dad. And there's some speculation as to whether or not he actually did have a heel spur, or whether or not these doctors were doing Donald Trump's dad a favor by making it so his son wouldn't be sent off to war. Either way, he didn't go to war, and instead starts working for his dad's thriving real estate business, building lower and middle income apartment buildings in Brooklyn and Queens. And then there's this moment in 1964 that shows us another important part of his personality. We'll make it the second item on our list here. There was this huge bridge in New York that had just been completed. It was a massive feat of engineering.
Where does Child Predator fit into this?
Connected Brooklyn to like Staten Island or something. Fred Trump was invited to the opening ceremony of this bridge, and he invited his son Donald to be present. Donald sat there in the crowd and noticed that during this celebration of the bridge, the guy who actually designed the bridge was there, but he was just off in the corner. Quote, "No one even mentioned his name," recalls Donald. He goes on to say, quote, "I realized then and there that if you let people treat you how they want, you'll be made a fool. I don't want to be made anybody's sucker."
They just took us like, for a bunch of suckers.
This is a huge one. That for Donald Trump, it's not just about winning. It's that you must fight for recognition. That if you're not the center of the show, you're a sucker. Recognition and attention matter a great deal to Trump from a very young age.
This is the perfect pair.
Yeah, I mean, he just likes to be heard. I mean, like, this is all stuff I knew, though.
It replaces 3 different chargers. This is the Ridge Magnetic
I
Power
promise
Bank.
I don't
It
care.
snaps on with MagSafe, so no cables, no guessing.
No cables?
I'm an
Oh my god, I'm so sick
artist.
of
In
AI
a certain
ads.
sense, I'm an artist. I build the greatest buildings in the world.
Okay, so Trump joins his dad's business and he starts really learning the ways.
And I started off making little deals in Brooklyn and Queens with my father, and they seemed to work out.
He's only in his 20s, but he quickly runs into some big issues that would redirect the course of his life. At this point, we're in like the 1970s. The Civil Rights Act had just passed, which made it illegal to discriminate against people based on their race. And to enforce this, the US government, the Justice Department, would send agents undercover around to different apartment complexes to make sure that landlords weren't discriminating on who they rented to. This was a routine thing that they were doing, and it eventually happened to the Trump apartments. The DOJ would send in a black person undercover to apply for an apartment, and they quickly started to see a pattern where black or Hispanic people would be told that there was no available units in that complex. And then right after, the DOJ would send in a white person looking for the same type of apartment, only to find that suddenly there was room in that apartment complex. Department of Justice officials did this over and over and started to see a pattern of systematic racial discrimination. And on one day in 1973, Trump and his dad are hit with this lawsuit. The United States of America v. Fred Trump, Donald Trump, and Trump Management, Inc. The DOJ is hitting him with this lawsuit over allegedly discriminating against people based on race or color.
Yeah, I did know about this. And it didn't surprise me in the slightest when I read it.
They found that managers would mark rental applications with a C, indicating color. But yeah, these are one of these rental applications, and this may be the C that they are referring to here in the remarks section. I don't actually know, I haven't verified that, but in one testimony, a doorman for Trump's property said that he was directed to tell black applicants that the rent was twice as much as it actually was. And then when they asked the super why they denied certain applicants, the super replied that he was, quote, "doing what my boss told me to do. I'm not allowed to rent to black families." The DOJ found that this was...
What? Actually, why though? Like, I don't understand it. Like, why would somebody who owns this complex, like, unironically tell his employees to just deliberately say no to anybody who's not white? It doesn't make sense to me. Clients are clients. Like, this family is all about money. I don't understand. It makes no sense.
Widespread, happening all over in Trump's at least 14,000 units. This lawsuit was a pretty huge deal. It was one of the largest fair housing cases at the time. Here's the New York Times front page the day after this came out. Major landlords accused of anti-black bias in city. 27-year-old Donald Trump was furious. But instead of admitting to these allegations and settling with the DOJ, he fought back. And this is where we get to the next item on our list, which is a pattern we'll start to see, which is that when Donald Trump is called out for something, his response is often to fight no matter what.
I think people see me as a fighter. I think people have always seen me as a fighter. They know that I don't take a lot of crap from people.
The Trumps responded by countersuing the Department of Justice for $100 million, claiming that they made false statements. Now, the judge dismissed this suit outright, saying that there was no basis for it. But even still, the Trumps fought on. During this time, Trump said that, quote, "I'd rather fight than fold, because as soon as you fold once, you get the reputation of being a folder." So he kept fighting.
Yeah, see, he doesn't care about having the reputation of being blatantly racist, but he does care about losing the case.
For years, even though there wasn't really a solid defense there. And finally, he was forced to fold. But watch how he does it. Watch what he prioritizes. He strikes a deal with the DOJ that allows him to admit no wrongdoing, but that would require him to make a bunch of changes, like emphasizing that his apartment complexes are open to people of all races, taking out ads in the paper saying that Trump apartments actually do welcome black renters. But he didn't have to admit any guilt, and that is a point of pride for him.
We settled the suit with no admission of guilt. It was very easy to do.
Fighting no matter what means never admitting you're wrong, regardless of the circumstances, never apologizing, never folding. It's something that all humans do. They evade responsibility, but Trump has kind of made a brand out of it. It's a pattern that we'll see over and over. But anyway, a bigger point I want to make here is that this whole lawsuit really turned Donald Trump off of his dad's business. He didn't like this whole renting to middle and lower income tenants. It was causing too much trouble for him. Remember, he grew up in a rich New York City family with a reputation and connections. He had a taste for prestige and luxury and wealth and attention, and none of that was out here in Queens. So in his early 30s, he starts to turn his attention across the river toward Manhattan, the epicenter of wealth, prestige, excess, and attention, the high life of New York City.
Want to strengthen your math and computer science skills?
Not in the slightest. I was locked in.
Try Brilliant. It's
I'm good. I'm okay. It's so annoying, and they're all insanely
visual
long
and
ads.
interactive. So concepts.
And it wouldn't be long before he was at the top of it all. And this is where we need to take a slight diversion, and for that, I'm going to sit over here. You've heard me talk about NordVPN. I'm a big fan. When I'm on the road, I have become so grateful that I have access to this tool. I connect to NordVPN with one little press of a button, and it connects me to the internet via far away. Allow you version free. Back to Donald Trump's story.
I've never seen anything to the extent that I have in New York. It now, from a real estate standpoint, has probably become the hottest city in the world. People are flocking here by droves.
Well, they weren't flocking here by droves right away. In fact, when Trump moved to Manhattan, Manhattan was kind of a city in decline. It was full of empty, crumbling buildings, kind of like a faded memory of its glory days. But Trump came in with a huge vision, a huge enthusiasm to resurrect the city at a time when most investors were pretty sheepish about putting their money in this crumbling city. Check out this New York Times feature on Donald Trump around this time. Tall, lean, blonde with dazzling white teeth, a glib, non-stop talker who believes that, quote, New York is either going to get much better or much worse. And he's predicting that it's going to get, quote, much better. It was a pretty good prediction. Over the next decade, Trump used his father's company connections, money, reputation to buy old decaying buildings and give them glitzy renovations.
And we purchased the old Commodore Hotel, and we've reconverted that now into about $110 million Grand Hyatt Hotel, which is...
This includes the purchase of this old department store on Fifth Avenue, atop which he built his signature project, Trump Tower, a 68-story building in Midtown Manhattan. Or was it 58 floors? Trump sort of has a habit of like exaggerating the number of floors in his buildings. Anyway, the point is the city kind of loved it. It was a welcome renovation.
Yeah, this is all super cool. Except like, didn't all of the businesses fail though? Like he even if the businesses did succeed, I don't know how many of them did, but even if they did, like these aren't the traits you would want in a president. Like, why do you want a businessman to run America? Like, America's not a business. It's not a monopoly. It's a country full of people that all have different incomes. Why would you want to run a entire country like it's a business? These aren't the traits you want in a president.
style of a building, but no one loved it more than Donald Trump himself because he was winning. In a very short time, he had broken away from his life and business in Queens and built a temple unto himself, a physical expression of his love for opulence and status and exclusivity and attention.
Trump Tower, a creation which holds a shopping area where if you have to ask the prices, you don't belong there.
Marble, gold, columns, waterfalls, mahogany woodwork, chandeliers, and for Trump and his family, a massive 3-story penthouse that looks like a European palace had a baby with Las Vegas. But remember, winning is not all that matters to Trump. Next, he needed to make everyone know about it. And he needed to control the narrative. The story couldn't be that he had grown up with a rich dad who gave him money and reputation and connections to make a lot of this happen, or that a lot of these deals were made with a combination of tax exemptions, with some fairly shady financial sleight of hand, and at times full-on lies to banks in order to secure funding. That's something we understand now because court rulings have come out to prove how shady a lot of this was. But no. At the time, the story needed to be that he was this smart, hardworking guy. And honestly, there's no doubt about that. But this is where Donald Trump's master...
Yeah, it's hard listening to this after he's already been president for this long because I already know a lot of this stuff.
Storytelling comes into play, showing his ability to subvert the law while crafting a story about his success that people would just eat up. And a big part of that storytelling is reflective of another one of his core beliefs, that people want to be sold a fantasy. I mean, and I'm not speculating on this. In his book, he says that, quote, "I play to people's fantasies. People may not always think big themselves, but they can still get very excited by those who do. That's why little hyperbole never hurts. People want..."
This is very true, though. Like, he knows what he's doing in, like, the business aspect, but he does not know how to run a country.
To believe that something is the biggest and the greatest and the most spectacular.
But, like, he still doesn't, though, because his businesses still fail, and he, like, cuts corners constantly. Like, he still doesn't really know what he's doing in the business aspect either. He cuts corners and breaks rules, and it works out, but, like, most of his companies go bankrupt anyways.
This is truly one of the most important things on this list, because I think he's right. I think people do like to be sold a fantasy.
I like it. Man's got it made, got everything.
He started crafting this big fantasy image of this rich, no BS talker. He became good at getting in front of the camera, telling the story that you want to hear.
I'm a rather, and you will be surprised, but I can be a rather humble person.
Please shut the fuck up.
If I want to be. I like to be non-controversial. Have you folks noticed that?
Now shut the fuck up!
Mid-1980s,
Oh my god!
Trump's tower and big personality had made him famous, giving him the platform to keep selling his fantasy persona as a rich party animal, always surrounded by women and famous people. And there was perhaps nowhere that helped elevate this image and storytelling more than the New York City tabloids.
I mean, 22 days in a row or something on the cover of the tabloids. It's never been anything like that.
Trump appeared on the front page of the New York tabloids 87 times in the course of 15 years. And this was not by accident, it was by design. This was a part of his strategy. He learned how to hack the media really early on. This idea that no matter how much bad press you get for shady business like racial discrimination, bribing people that have connections to the mob, allowing his casinos to be used as money laundering, all of this can be washed away if you distract people with a tantalizing, glamorous lifestyle. Sell them a fantasy, because that's what they want. Or better yet,
this is all true.
In his own words in 1991 in an Esquire interview, quote, "You know, it really doesn't matter what they write, as long as you've got a young, beautiful piece of ass." This would prove to be true, and still is true. And the tabloids were his megaphone for this strategy.
The reputation of Donald Trump, the man who dates a different woman every year.
I want to talk a little bit more about the tabloids because I feel like this was like his boot camp for learning how to work human psychology and the media to get attention. He became an expert at getting people to pay attention to him for good and bad and finding a way to get whatever he wanted.
Yeah, a lot of people like streamers and mainly just streamers actually, they talk about like bad PR and stuff, but like, dude, bad PR is still PR. Like, people freak out about that a lot because they want their image to stay the same. But if your only goal is fame and money, bad PR doesn't actually matter. If you genuinely don't care what people think about you, bad PR doesn't matter at all because you're still getting attraction. Every single time we've canceled James Charles, someone will see a video saying that we're doing it, and their first instinct is to look up, why are we canceling James Charles? You just contributed to his own attraction. Like, you just gave him more money by that one search you made, because now his search just went a little bit higher on the charts. So, like, any PR is PR. Even if it's bad, you're still gonna get something out of it.
To appear in print. Like, for example, when the tabloids were covering his struggling marriage with his first wife, Ivana Trump, who he later had 3 children with, he and Ivana faced off, trying to shape the tabloids' narrative by fostering relationships with different columnists and planting information. Trump had been having an affair with actress Marla Maples, who later became his second wife and the mother of his 4th child. And this affair, this tension...
How did all of these women fall for this?
Became so juicy to the New York tabloids. It was everywhere. And instead of hide from it, Trump fueled it because it added to his image. It was these years where he really learned that all press was good press. He also got really good at planting rumors, using fake names like John Miller or John Barron. Yes, I'm literally saying that Donald Trump would call journalists and pretend that his name was John Barron to give them information that would benefit himself, Donald Trump. Like, here he is in 1984 calling a Forbes reporter who was assembling a list of the 400 richest Americans.
Okay, what's your first name, Danny? John Barron.
Even though it sounds just like Trump, we know that it's him pretending to be John Barron, saying that he's the vice president of the Trump Organization, and saying that he knows how much Trump owns of the family business, and thus how rich Trump is.
Okay, and when you say, in excess of 90% of the ownership of the...
I'd say in excess of 90. In fact, well, it's really closer to even the ultimate, but it's in excess of 90%, yes.
If it's not obvious, he's lying. He's playing pretend. He didn't own 90% of his dad's business.
Is this your car insurance premium? This?
Wait, but why would he lie about that specifically?
This? Even this?
They don't want us to know that there's an easy way to lower
I don't care!
What you do is, you go to simplify.com.
Oh, God. Maybe I want the ad back. I mean, Jesus. That close-up is not appetizing at all.
And guess what? It totally worked. Forbes ended up coming out with a list that said that Donald Trump was worth $100 million. But later we learned that he was only worth $5 million.
Oh my God, holy LARP.
Easy today. Like, reporters not skeptical back then? This guy obviously sounds like Donald Trump. I mean,
no, they weren't.
And listen to him.
Just consolidated. I think last year somebody showed me the article, and I think you had 200 and 200, and really it's been pretty well consolidated now for the most part.
And if you're skeptical, Trump himself tested.
See, like, he wasn't, like, he's, like, kind of well-spoken then. What the fuck happened? Where did all of it go?
Testified in court that, quote, I believe I occasionally use that name, referring to his use of John Barron as a fake name. And as his baseball coach said way back when he was a teen, Trump will do anything to win. Oh, and just let's be clear though, the definition of winning here isn't what most of us think of, which is being the best at something while following the rules that everyone else follows. To Trump, winning means making people think you won, making people think you're worth $100 million, even though you're really worth $5 million. The truth doesn't matter. The perception matters. He gave them the drama that they wanted about his divorces and relationships, and in exchange, he got the attention that he craved and that he used to craft his image. So far this is my list, my interpretation of what motivates this guy, what he really believes, how he thinks, and how he's used that to be successful. First in real estate development, but soon in much, much more.
Was the darling of the 80s, is seen in the 90s as a man in trouble.
This surely will.
He threw a fucking field day for his birthday? Goddamn part-timer. Listen, Pirate, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor and go all the way back to the VOD. There's a reason why I wasn't live, okay? Just go back to the beginning and listen to my rant, okay? Because there is a reason why I was not live, I promise.
Will be my favorite part of the video because it's about to get wild.
There is a new billionaire in town. Trump's the name. Donald Trump is a major deal maker, a swashbuckler.
Throughout the
and a child predator. I'm still waiting for that part to play in here.
80s and 90s, Trump's name starts to appear on everything. Trump Magazine, Real Estate and Luxury Living. Dear reader, over the years, I've developed an intensely cogent philosophy. And then he launches an airline.
Donald Trump bought the Eastern Shuttle.
Yeah, I know Johnny Harris doesn't fuck with this guy.
For a price tag of $365 million.
The Eastern Shuttle is no more. Tomorrow morning it will be the Trump Shuttle.
Planes with leather seats, faux marble, gold-plated sinks, carpet that was so thick.
Oh my gosh, his dick is microscopic.
The
Brother,
flight attendants couldn't
how much more can you compensate?
Push their drink carts. To which Trump responded, unsurprisingly to anyone, tell them to push harder.
We are going to run the best airline in the industry, and we really don't anticipate any problems.
The airline did fail within a couple of years, but remember our rules. We don't admit defeat. He claimed that it was a success. He launches a board game, Trump the Game, which is effectively Monopoly, but with a few tweaks. We got the instruction booklet with faux marble texture. I would be disappointed with anything less. We got $100 million bills, Monopoly money with Trump's face on it. You got real estate, you got investors, you got casinos, hotels. The game represents everything that Trump wants you to believe about him and parts of his real life. He had built a
Should I play this game on stream chat?
real estate empire.
I win.
You always win.
Trump opens a slew of casinos in New Jersey that help revive Atlantic City. These casinos were over-the-top, excessive luxury, just like everything Trump touched. He helped start an American Football League to compete with the NFL.
And the answer is we are in a form of war right now with the NFL. There's no question about it.
That didn't work out. He launched a vodka brand. I have it right here. Success Distilled. Even though, side note, Donald Trump doesn't and apparently hasn't ever drank alcohol.
I'm glad I'm not a drinker. I mean, I've never had a drink in my life.
This also no longer exists.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Yes, you have. Maybe not alcohol, but I promise there's been some lean getting guzzled down by you.
It was very expensive, but I did it for the fans. $120 on sale. The world's finest super premium vodka. Like, it sounds like Trump, his wording, like, I swear, it's just like super premium, the finest, the best, like everything's the best.
It's like, why are you not trying it? There's probably ketamine in there.
A do not disturb setting for your mind, and it gets you focused in just 5 minutes.
Whoa, man!
Everything's the best. And then, of course, there's the beauty pageants. A big part of Trump's image was that he was consistently surrounded by women. So he bought up.
Okay, please put in the clip of him talking about going into the locker room with all the naked women.
Major beauty pageants.
You know, they're standing there with no clue. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Creepy!
26 women have come out publicly accusing Donald Trump of some form of sexual misconduct. This includes
Who would have fucking guessed?
his ex-wife, who accused him of sexually assaulting her, but then later softened the...
And then Trump supporters will see that list of women and be like, yeah, no, they all conspired against him. It's all a lie. Like, shut the fuck up. You can't possibly tell me that all of these women are like, yeah, let's all lie. Shut up.
His ex-wife, who accused him of sexually assaulting her, but then later softened the allegation after a legal settlement. Anyway, this is a long list of women and accusations that each have a specific context and results. But it includes one case where Trump was found guilty for sexual abuse. Now, he denies all of this. That is until he thinks he's not being recorded.
I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss them. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
But this didn't stop Trump from continuing to rise as an icon of relatable fame and fortune. He continues to put his name on everything, turning, as one Trump Organization executive put it, quote, from a serious businessman into a cartoon. He's on the cover of Playboy. He creates a real estate investing course that he calls his university, which he eventually got massively sued for. He launches a travel and tourism website, a mortgage company, a home and furnishing brand,
Finally, the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
a men's clothing line.
What are you doing with your hands? Oh my god. He looks like a waiter is on like his first day. He's just... What kind of fucking muscle spasm are you having?
Including ties. Okay, wait, side note. I have a funny story here. When I was a Mormon missionary and I had to wear this every day, the only way to express yourself is with a tie. And so we would trade ties with each other. And the most valuable ties were Trump ties because they were like so, I don't know, they just had weight. They just had brand power associated with them. Yeah. I once traded a Trump tie, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, moving on. There's Trump Winery, and then he's suddenly launching a steak brand.
When it comes to great steaks, I've just raised the stakes.
Like, we kept finding
Oh my god, he's such a fucking cornball.
new things that Trump's name was on, like this urine test kit that is currently on eBay for a couple $100. No, we did not buy it, right? $500. No, thank you. Oh my god.
It's a collectible, bro.
Did we almost pulled the trigger on that one? Nope. And then of course this literal water called Trump Ice with the guy's face on it and just water from 2004 or something. We also paid a lot of money for this collector's item. Oh no, it expired in 2004. We're going on 20 years from when this expired. 20-year-old water. I wonder how it's doing. Should I take a sip? Should I open it?
Yes!
Like, what else am I gonna do? I have to take a sip. I'm drinking some right now. I'm doing it. Oh, whoa. This expired 20 years ago. Oh, dude, it's been like vacuum sealed. Oh. It smells chemically. I'm taking a sip. This could be my final sip. Death by Trump water. No, I'm just kidding.
This guy just gave, like, the next 4 generations of his family microplastic poisoning.
Ow. Okay, Trump water. Tastes like prestige. Like this guy could brand anything with his name and face. He'd become a symbol. But what you have to know about all of this stuff is that he didn't own most of this. He's really just licensing his name. Like all around the world, you see these buildings. They have the Trump name on them. But Trump or his organization didn't build them. They don't manage them. They simply give the people who do own them permission to use the name to signal a sense of prestige, brand power. Trump's image had become his greatest asset, appealing especially to the American middle class. Because even though Trump came from extreme wealth, he presented like an everyman. He was a plain talker, he had an outer borough Queens accent, and yet he had it all: the money, the women, the luxury. And this pull yourself up by your bootstraps reputation of having earned it from the ground up. A Disneyland-esque version of the American dream, which was a mix of half reality and half fantasy. We're used to a lot of this stuff now, celebrities and influencers putting their name on stuff to sell someone else's product. But back in like the 80s, most people would see all of these products and think that like Trump owned all of it, that he had this massive empire with dozens and dozens of products. Leasing his name.
I mean, it's genius, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's smart what he did. He's still a fucking sociopath, though.
Of products, but without using his own cash. And when these businesses failed, as nearly all of them eventually did, Trump could pocket his profits, cut ties, without facing the fallout of the business folding. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying that this is illegal or even unethical. If anything, it was smart. I guess my takeaway here is that Trump's main skill wasn't being a businessman in the traditional sense. It was being a marketer, a showman, the sales pitch, the ability to sell himself, and the fantasy that he built around himself. His rise is almost entirely explained by his ability to do that, combined with the fact that he was born and raised with an obscene amount of money to get him started. Okay, but let's move ahead with the story. I've emphasized this enough. Trump has built this big fantasy brand. It's really working. He's making a lot of money. He becomes like an icon. But by the early 2000s, his brand was kind of losing its luster. His business empire starts to kind of decline. His casinos were filing for bankruptcy, and his glory days seemed to be maybe over. But that would change in 2004 when he was able to once again monetize his persona, this time on a reality TV show.
New York City, it's the benchmark for success. Believe me, I know. My name is Donald Trump, and I'm the largest developer in New York.
The concept was the brainchild of the creator of the reality TV show Survivor, and it was pretty brilliant. Trump would be the boss, looking over his vast business empire, and there would be contestants who would compete to impress the big boss enough to get hired. This ended up being a powerful premise for a dramatic show. It was a massive success, bringing in tens of millions of viewers and rejuvenating Trump's persona, actually elevating it. A household name for many Americans who would tune in to watch him act out this role that he had been preparing for his whole life. The showman in the spotlight, entertaining people while also building his brand and his image as a ruthless businessman.
You're fired.
Oh my God, oh my God.
The Apprentice with Trump lasted for 14 seasons and laid the foundation of what would happen
14?
next. His launch into running for president.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Do you have the genes to be a successful politician?
Well, you never really know. I think I'm pretty outspoken, and that's not probably a good thing in terms of a politician, but it's a good thing if you ever got elected, you can really do a job.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life.
Trump had flirted with running for office a few times before.
On the Republican side, there's speculation that developer Donald Trump may throw his hat into the ring.
But it was only in the 2000s, while he was crafting his image on The Apprentice, that he started to insert himself into politics more and more. Like in 2008, when he challenged whether or not then-candidate Barack Obama was actually an American citizen.
More recently, Donald Trump have questioned President Obama's citizenship.
We have to look at it. We have to see, is it real?
Now, this was an overt display of racism that did not land well with a lot of Americans, and it coincided with a sharp decline in The Apprentice's ratings. Eventually, most of Trump's branded ventures would go on to fold, and once again, he seemed to be on course for being a name of the past. But we know this guy by now. He is fueled by an endless desire to win and be recognized for it, and he had a pretty tried and true playbook to do it. So in 2015, Trump descended an escalator and threw himself into the spotlight that he knows so well. When he was asked later why he decided to run for president, he said, quote, "Because here's the way I look at it. I have so many rich friends, and nobody knows who they are. You must fight for recognition, or you'll end up as someone else's sucker."
Say what you will about Mr. Trump, he certainly would bring some change to the White House.
So he wielded his tireless work ethic and his ability to inflame and divide and lie and lie and lie some more.
That's probably the moment he decided like he was gonna fucking come after Obama every single day he was president.
And bully all the way into the limelight. After years of practice on smaller stages, he entered the largest stage of them all and expertly sold the fantasy of being the everyman, despite having never lived like anything but
How did this work? Oh my gosh, this makes me so mad.
a king. And it worked. He won. He didn't get the most votes, but he still won fair and square. And he became the president of the United States for 4 years. And then, when he lost, he did what he's always done, what we could have predicted he would do. He fought it to the death, attacking the rules of the system that he had lost in, selling his lies to an angry population who believed them, and dealing a blow to the foundations of our fragile democracy. And tens of millions of people continued to love it. There's a reason why Republicans who understand how power works are scared that he's back, that he's running for president again. Dick Cheney, the epitome of a conservative Republican, said that, quote, "In our nation's 248-year history, there has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump. He tried to steal the last election using lies and violence to keep himself in power after the voters rejected him. He can never be trusted with power again." He's one of the many Republicans,
got elected a
including
second
his
time.
previous vice president, who understand how our country works, how delicate our system is, and who see clearly how this person does things. And it scares them. It scares them for the very existence of our country. This is not typical political fighting. This is weird. This is different. This is a genuine worry for the system itself. A system that now, thanks to a new Supreme Court ruling, gives a sitting president immunity from the law, right at a time when indictments from government prosecutors are racking up against Donald Trump. Not because the deep state is out to get him, not because the Democrats have coordinated this, but because he has broken the law, and our system is working to make him stand accountable.
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding.
As Trump runs again for the White House, I've been seeing these same ingredients play out, these beliefs, these behaviors. He has a tried and true playbook, and he'll use it over and over again. I mean, just look at this side-by-side that The Daily Show recently did.
Joe Biden is a failed president. She was a failed vice president. The worst president in the history, the worst vice president in history. He is incompetent. She's incompetent. She can't talk. She can't talk. Low IQ. He's a low IQ individual. She happens to be really a low IQ individual. She really does. She has a very low IQ.
I didn't notice that.
After studying his life and watching him lead my country for 4 years, it feels clear to me that Donald Trump will continue to pursue this playbook, these beliefs, this lifelong ambition to win, to not be anybody's sucker, to win and to get recognition for it, recognition that he so deeply and nakedly craves. This is what he's been doing his whole life, to win at all costs, to do whatever it takes. And my genuine worry, like that of Dick Cheney's, is that this time he's willing to rip apart the entire country in the process. I've made a similar video for the other candidate running, Kamala Harris. That video comes out next week. It is a similar commentary on Kamala's life. I've tried to approach both of these with a non-biased lens, but at some point I also have to say what I observe and what I see. You know, I really feel...
In other words, he likes that one more than this one.
Like my view of Trump was expanded through this research. I was able to humanize him and see him in a different way and understand him. And I think that's really important. And yet when I feel like the political system that ensures my freedom and security is being attacked, like that is also something that I will say full-throatedly and without mincing words. Make sure to check out our other channel, Search Party, which is a deep dive on geopolitics and global sports, started by my old colleague, Sam Ellis. If you like this channel, you'll like that channel as well. And also make sure to check out our music.
All right. Yeah, we're fucked. We're fucked. That's all. That's it. That's all I have to say. How long was this? Oh, this is a year ago. So the Kamala Harris one did come out already. Do we watch that one too? I mean, it's a little late because she already lost, but I mean, we could. How far back is it? Oh, there it is. The Real Story of Kamala Harris. Do we watch this one too? Yeah, why not?
With Lemonade, you can sign up for insurance in seconds. Get a quote at lemonade.com.
Earth's best new big kids.
All right, we got it, bro. We got it.
Stuff. So whatever their next adventure, we've got their backs.
Okay. Yo, what are you trying to say with these ads, YouTube? Why are you putting baby food on my shit?
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Who is Kamala?
Okay, that's kind of crazy. I didn't know she said
Harris. What does she believe, and what does her story teach us about how she might govern if elected president?
She's the first woman ever to be the city's top prosecutor.
Kamala is Brad.
Oh my God, we missed out, bro. Fuck!
You're fired.
Last week we did Trump. This week it's Kamala. So let me show you the rise of Kamala Harris.
Should be asking, are we smart on crime? We did it, Joe.
I'm speaking.
If somebody breaks in my house, they're getting shot. We will be prosecuted. My mother had
I'm so upset. I'm so upset about this still.
another lesson she used to teach. Never let anyone tell you who you are. You show them who you are.
Harris was born in 1964 in Oakland, California. Her father had come to California from Jamaica to get his PhD in economics. Her mother immigrated to the US from southern India, landing in Berkeley, California for the same reason as her father: education. Her parents were married and had 2 kids, Kamala and her younger sister Maya. Growing up, Kamala and her family lived in a mostly black neighborhood in Berkeley. Eventually, her parents divorced.
You notice how the children of immigrants are statistically more driven than the ones who were born here? Maybe we should stop getting rid of them! I fucking hate this country.
In 1972, and Kamala and her sister were raised mostly by their single mother. And it sounds like many single-parent households, it was pretty tough. One thing we know for sure is that Kamala's mother was a major influence on her as a child.
My mother was a brilliant, 5-foot-tall, brown woman with an accent. And it was mostly my mother who raised us. So my mother, that was my mother.
And her mother is the origin of this now viral quote.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and was here for you. Coconut tree.
Kamala's childhood was happening just at the time the civil rights movement was at its height. This fight wasn't theoretical for her. It was happening in her literal front yard.
We grew up pretty much surrounded full-time by adults who spent their time marching and shouting about this thing called justice.
As an elementary school student, Kamala was a part of some of the first efforts to desegregate schools by busing kids from predominantly black neighborhoods to try to integrate these cities that had been so deeply divided by race.
There was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to integrate her public schools, and she was bused to school every day. And that little girl was me.
Okay, so at this point, you start to see some of these influences that go on to inform the rest of her life. Her immigrant parents, especially her single mother who raised her, the civil rights movement happening around her, and the neighborhood that she grew up in. In middle school, Kamala's mom accepted a job in Montreal as a cancer researcher. She talks about this as being...
Okay, like, the influences of Trump are all about himself. And then, like, the things of Kamala are just things that actually drive her to keep going. Like, Donald Trump just likes being seen.
A big opportunity for her mom, but she was a teenager and she was not thrilled to be moving to Canada. Friends at the time describe high schooler Kamala as bookish, bubbly, and to have blended in with everyone easily. After graduating high school in 1982, she enrolled.
Like, there's patterns even when they're kids. Like, that stuff stays with you. Like, you don't change as a person. And the attributes of Donald Trump when he was the same age as her are very, very different.
Enrolled in Howard University in Washington, D.C., where she studied political science and economics. During her time at college, she took on student leadership positions, participated on the debate team, and continued to show an interest in activism, participating in protests on campus. While in D.C., you also start to see her turn more towards politics. She spends both her summers and during the school year interning at government institutions, places like the Federal Trade Commission, or interning for a California senator. She worked at the National Archives. She was a tour guide at the U.S. Bureau of...
She has a background in politics. Oh my god. This is so stupid.
Of engraving and printing. And in between all of this, she also took on summer jobs to make money, the most famous of which being her stint at McDonald's. Which, like, during this election, people have been trying to debunk or, like, spread rumors that she didn't work at McDonald's, like it's some highly controversial thing. Anyway, the point here is, there's a major paradox happening in Paris's life that we start to see. On one hand, she's influenced by activism. She's critical of government. She's protesting it, while also working within old government institutions that she was often critiquing as unfair. This is a major theme within her life, one you can see in this speech that she gave to Howard graduates in 2017.
You can march for Black lives on the street, And you can ensure law enforcement accountability by serving as a prosecutor or on a police commission. Somebody is going to make the decision. So why not let it be you?
Okay, so it's the mid-'80s, and Harris returns to California for law school. This is where we start to see more influences. Like one summer, she was an intern at the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, and she gets her first real taste for how powerful a role as a public prosecutor can be.
I was working on a case, and I realized that among those arrested was an innocent bystander. But it was late on a Friday afternoon. The case would not get called until Monday. I pleaded for the judge to come back. I would not leave until the judge finally gave in. And when that happened, with the swipe of a pen, this woman got to go home to her children. That woman taught me that when you see something in front of you that's wrong, you can just go ahead and do what you know is right.
Okay, so we're now getting to the point that got me really curious.
Yo, we missed out, bro. We missed out. How the fuck did she lose? Like, I actually don't understand.
About Harris. We have this list of initial influences that have informed her life, but now we get to the more visible part. What she did when she was in the public eye, during her career, her decisions, her words. They paint a picture, and I want to show it to you.
Most important things don't come easy, so it's not going to be a cakewalk. There's a lot of work to do.
Okay, but before we dive in, let's define this word prosecutor, which is a word that you're going to hear a lot when you talk about Kamala Harris. A public prosecutor is the government's lawyer. They are responsible for presenting the evidence and the case against people or businesses accused of committing a crime. And here in the United States, they're often seen as hawks. They're tough on crime, responsible for upholding America's habit of throwing millions in jail for nonviolent crimes. Okay? Public prosecutor. Big part of Kamala Harris's life. So after law school, Harris becomes a public prosecutor in California. First in Alameda County, and then for the city of San Francisco, and then eventually for the entire state of California. So now Kamala Harris, this activist turned kind of politician lawyer, takes on the role that is kind of the definition of tough on crime, working to convict criminals, advocating to lock them up, and upholding the status quo of our justice.
I mean, there's no higher stakes than working a case on somebody who's like taken somebody else's life. Like, there's no higher stakes than that. So like, she can very obviously stay calm in stressful situations. Why would we not want that? Like, Donald Trump sits behind a desk and lies about the things that he is accomplishing.
Justice system.
Serious and violent crime, lock them up.
But Harris says that she's a different kind of public prosecutor. She calls herself a progressive prosecutor. Huh? This strikes people as kind of a contradiction.
Are you soft on crime or are you tough on crime? Instead, I believe we should be asking, are we smart on crime?
Again, here in the United States, progressives tend to advocate for reform to our justice system. They say that the system is too harsh, locking up way too many people who are disproportionately brown and black men, often for non-violent crimes, and for far too long. That's one of many critiques. And as I mentioned, prosecutors are kind of seen as the ones doing the locking up. So to get through this next section, let's put both of these words on a scale. And as we look at her career, let's assess what she's done that represents the progressive side of the scale, and what of her actions represent more of the traditional prosecutor side. I'm gonna go through the progressive side first, but then I will get to the prosecutor side. So don't forget that that's coming.
Early intervention leaves room in our prisons for the violent criminals who should be there.
First up, Harris says that being a progressive prosecutor means holding serious criminals to account while focusing on preventing crime in the first place. She focuses on stopping the crime before it happens. And to do this, throughout her career, she focuses a lot on data.
Let's look at the issue that we're presented with in California beyond one criminal case and look at the crime problem. Nationally, 75%, 54% to less than 10%, from 43% to over 90%, 70% reoffend.
The context here is that crime is one of those issues that easily scares us. No matter your political leanings, every person wants to feel safe. So there's a lot of emotions driving how our justice system works, how we treat criminals. But Harris wanted to change this. She wanted to use the analysis of numbers to help inform systems of justice and law enforcement that were more equitable, more rational, and to see in the data, why are these people committing crimes in the first place? She's building public databases.
Let's focus on what we can do to prevent crime before it occurs.
publishing statistics on crimes,
Elementary school students missing 60, 70, 80 days of a 180-day school year.
That is something like a president does, though. Like, these are all things you would want in a president.
Data.
I was told prosecutors don't need to focus on recidivism. I was told prosecutors should not focus on the needs of children.
A public database for police practices.
Did an analysis of who our homicide victims were. 94% of them were high school dropouts. Perhaps untraditional for me to ask the question, but I did. I got the answer.
Oh, and she took this like data-driven prevention effort pretty far, and it got kind of controversial when she came out and said that the state should be prosecuting parents with a crime if their kids miss too much school. And in a few cases, she actually did that.
So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco. And frankly, my staff went bananas. They were very concerned.
Okay, a few more things on the progressive side of the scale here, and then we'll get to the prosecutor side.
Yeah, I had 78 absences my senior year. I probably wouldn't have been too happy about that.
She fought against applying the death penalty. She fought big banks and won convictions after the 2008 housing crisis.
We have delivered to California $18 billion in relief for California's homeowners.
She fought and won $1 billion for victims of a predatory for-profit university.
We are talking about Corinthian colleges taking advantage of Californians who simply aspire to achieve the American dream.
And perhaps her most nationally recognized moment as Attorney General is the moment where she told the clerk of Los Angeles to begin issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples, back during when this was a big debate around Proposition 8, or the legality of gay marriage.
This is Kamala Harris. You must start marriages immediately.
I've seen plenty of power.
Grayson, what the fuck are you doing, bro? I don't have TTS on, thank God, because that would have been crazy. Oh my God. That chat popped up on screen too. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome.
Okay, but hold your horses. There's another side to this.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. All right, don't be saying shit like that.
Story. So far, I've made Harris look like this reform-minded, progressive champion as a prosecutor. But let's look at the other side of the scale.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Lock them up.
Aggressively prosecuting violent criminals as San Francisco's first African-American DA.
First, the death penalty. In 2014, as Attorney General, in a seemingly reversal of her previous actions as district attorney, she actually fought to keep the death penalty in California by appealing a ruling that would have effectively ended it in the state. In another case, the Supreme Court came out and said that California's prisons were so overcrowded that it violated the Constitution as cruel and unusual punishment. And yet, her office supported the governor's fight against releasing prisoners. Over the years, she resisted or fought against some criminal justice reforms. Her office prosecuted almost 2,000 people in cannabis-related offenses, as well as defending the cash bail, which critics see as unfairly punishing lower-income defendants. Okay, I know this is a lot of like, we are in the weeds of the justice system, and like with the Trump video, I was able to be like in the weeds on like branded vodka and giant towers in New York City. But Kamala's story is actually this. It's like she has been in the weeds on criminal justice policy, and her critics and her fans debate as to how progressive or hawkish she was in the system. And so that is how we are evaluating her here. I know it's not as fun as watching Donald Trump like be in The Apprentice, but this is her career.
Yeah, he is much more entertaining because he's just a fucking idiot. But like, dude, these are the attributes you would want in a president. Nothing we saw in the last video screams President of the United States.
California's most innovative district attorney.
After going through all of these critiques, you can see why some liberals call BS on her whole idea of being a progressive prosecutor, saying that her career was actually built off of maintaining a tough-on-crime policy while sprinkling in some progressive reforms. No matter how you judge all of this, what's clear is that Harris continues to mind that balance that she has her whole life, where she's clearly has earnest progressive values and ideals, but she also is pragmatic and works within the system that she believes is where she can make change, which means upholding the status quo. But what this looks like, especially now that she's under the microscope of the entire world, no one really knows where she stands, because there's seemingly contradictory or inconsistent behavior here. I'll share my read on that in just a sec, but first, Let's see what happens next.
I am excited to stand before you as a proud California candidate for the United States Senate.
The election has been exhausting because of the news cycle. I feel like every day there's like 150 news stories that I should be following, but they're coming from all these different news outlets that all have different biases. Luckily, there is a solution for that, and that is the sponsor of today's video. Websites.
I actually have this app. It's pretty good.
Get this scan. Californians of communities shook by the election of Donald Trump.
Do we retreat or do we fight? I say we fight. I intend to fight.
Now, Harris is a prosecutor, a professional legal fighter. And over the next few years, she used her experience to grill Trump cabinet officials and nominees as they came before the Senate.
Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body? Has the president or anyone at the White House ever asked or suggested that you open an investigation of anyone? Yes or no, please, sir? Perhaps they've suggested.
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
Hinted.
And then, 2 years later,
I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States.
During this campaign, like everyone in a Democratic campaign, she swung far to the left, saying that she espoused pretty left-leaning policies, something that has come back to bite her basically every week during this election. But she didn't gain traction, and she soon pulled out of the race.
I'm suspending
it kind
of our campaign today.
But soon, she got a call from the Democratic nominee to join the ticket.
You ready to go to work?
Oh my God, I'm so ready to go to work.
And as the vice presidential nominee during the
she got into the election very late because Joe dropped out. So she had to swoop in very late. I feel like if she had more time during the election, she probably could have won.
The debates, especially her experience as a prosecutor, continued to define her reputation.
He said he's going to repeal the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
Biden and Harris won the White House in 2020.
We did it, Joe. But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
Okay, now listen, I'm going to be honest here. When I started reporting this story, I kind of thought that this next part was going to be the juiciest part. What does she do when she's vice president? And it ended up being the least helpful in understanding Kamala Harris. I've wrestled with this and concluded that I can't exactly learn a ton about Harris from her 4 years as vice president. Partly because it was Joe Biden's administration and the vice president doesn't really call the shots, and partly because of the task that she was given, which was the duty of fixing the root causes of migration from Central America to the US's southern border. Good luck. The mandate was go use American power to fix poverty, systemic corruption, and gang violence in El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras so that people stop trying to come to the United States. I've reported...
Yeah, dude, Republicans use that as an argument for her not, doing a lot when she was a vice president, but she was literally given, an impossible job.
A lot on migration and borders, and specifically in Central America, and I can tell you that one vice president has no chance of making a dent in these issues, especially in just a couple of years.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come.
Now, you can read her 5-pillar plan, but when I read it, it just feels kind of bland and familiar. The many reports with aspirational language about how the US can somehow fix systemic problems in other countries. Stuff like this does not work, or if it does not work quickly. And to add to all of this, the American people seem to misunderstand what her task actually was. And this includes me, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but I, like a lot of people, thought that Kamala Harris was in charge of the border, this border situation. She was supposed to fix what we do with people coming to the border. And all I'm seeing on TV is record numbers of migrants arriving to the border. Huge numbers of unaccompanied young people. And not just from Central America, but from tons of countries. Who was to blame for this big crisis on the border? Many looked at the vice president, because wasn't she the border czar in charge of all of this? No, she wasn't, but we all thought she was. And it didn't help that in one of her first media appearances, she kind of waffled some pretty basic questions about this.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
and I haven't been to Europe.
Now, to be fair and generous here, I should say that when you look at the most recent data, migration to the US border has gone down quite a bit, especially if you look at people coming from the 3 countries that Kamala Harris was tasked with fixing. And if I were Kamala Harris, I would be touting this, shouting it from the rooftops as a huge success of her big role. And while I think her initiatives of like meeting with the leaders and trying to get more business to Central America to like make jobs and fix these root problems were earnest and well-intentioned, I just truly don't think that it's reasonable for us to evaluate her based on any of these metrics. A vice president has no chance of fixing these deeply rooted systemic issues in other countries in just a few years. Okay, I've made that point. Let's move on.
Look, I'm not a young guy. With the COVID, excuse me,
Joe Biden is extraordinarily strong.
Bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know.
President Biden has decided to step out of the race for the White House.
He is offering his full support and endorsement for Kamala Harris.
I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
So, here we are, kind of in modern day. We all know what happens next. Vice President Kamala Harris gets thrust into becoming the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, as Joe Biden comes to grips with the fact that his age and declining mental acuity was a guarantee that he would lose and Donald Trump would be our next president.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
So Harris is now in the spotlight. And voters are
I remember that clip. It was actually really funny.
wondering how she will be as a president. What does her past, both personal and professional, tell us about how she'll govern? And the answer to that is pretty unclear. Partly because over the course of her career, Harris has shifted and morphed her views based on the system and the situation that she's in. That's what we've seen as we've talked about it here briefly. She doesn't have a record that shows some absolute ideological consistency, which has been perhaps her #1 critique, that Kamala's record simply is not consistent. And yet, her character seems to be consistent. Her lived experience is as well. So after doing this research on her life, I do believe her when she says,
My values have not changed.
and this election is weird. They're getting weirder every time, but this one's super weird. She's running against a showman, a professional marketer, businessman caricature who campaigns on his non-political achievements.
He's deliberately manipulating media right now because that's what he knows how to do.
Personality, not his policy proposals. Kamala Harris was born to immigrant parents who came to the United States looking for education and opportunity. And through hard work and endurance, she pushed her way up through the ranks to where she is today, all without serious scandals or dings to her character. The only thing we could dig up on her is that she dated the mayor of San Francisco, and that may or may not have helped her get a job or a position on some insurance board, but this was a consensual relationship. There was no cheating. It's not very juicy. So regardless of what you think of her politics, her stance on crime, I do think it is still legitimate to consider this personal character, especially when we're thinking about the most powerful person in our country, the leader of the country. Because
also the Republicans debating based off of that too, her relationship with the mayor and it possibly getting her a little bit higher in the system. Even if that is true, that doesn't outweigh the cons of Donald Trump. That one thing does not outweigh the child predator background or the failed businesses, the running Manhattan like it's a fucking monopoly. That disgusting businessman mentality is far more worse than one consensual relationship with a mayor. I just don't understand how that's enough for you to be I'd rather have Donald Trump.
Leaders lead with their personal experience as a guide, and this woman has lived a life that allows her to relate to a lot of everyday Americans, something that seems to be in short supply among leaders these days. So I don't know how Kamala Harris will govern if she becomes president, but from looking at her record, I do feel fairly convinced that she has a sense of ethics and morals and values, and I think that is important to consider. So if you are of voting age and you're an American, let me tell you one thing for certain. You are likely to not vote. In this country, only half of the people between 18 and 29 who are eligible to vote actually turn up. So our democracy is totally distorted because not everyone's voice is counted. I'll put a link here where you can go register and find your place to vote. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
We have got to the point where... and we missed out, bro. I don't know how the fuck she lost. Some bullshit. This is some bullshit. We're gonna move on to the next video. That was really good. Shout out to Johnny Harris. This guy's a baller. His videos are amazing. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, but we're starting 3 True Lonely Cabin Horror Stories animated. I'm gonna make fun of this whole video. I'm hyped. Count me down like 20 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna say some rude things about this video. Lock in.
Did you hear that?
Riley whispered.
Survival instincts of a wet paper towel.
I think we should bail.
I let out a shaky little laugh. Riley scoffed, yanking her arm away.
Right. So you can come back later and claim my discovery. Forget it.
She immediately dropped down low and started creeping toward that cabin window. I hissed at her to stop, but she just ignored me. I finally gave up and followed. We got to the side of the cabin where there was a low window. It was really dirty, but the frame was messed up, leaving this tiny gap. We peeked in. Inside the cabin was pitch dark, with only one lamp glowing on a table. A woman was lying on the floor, with the wrists and ankles tied up. Her hair was a mess, and she was crying, wincing in pain. A tall guy stood over her, grinning like a clown. He was snapping photos with a small camera. She was whispering,
"Damn, bro, I think you got enough, gang. You don't need that many."
Stop, but he just ignored her. My twin sister Riley and I shared a look. Both of us wanted to bolt, but we had to help the lady. At that time, we were 10, basically growing up in the woods behind our neighborhood in Asheville. We'd spent the whole of our weekend playing treasure hunt there. Our parents were cool with it, as long as we were back before the street lights popped on. We had our own named trails, a creek we dammed up every summer, and this hollow tree where we kept all our important junk. We knew those woods the way some kids know their own backyard. So, one late summer Sunday, when Riley came
That's actually kind of fucking cool. Like, that sounds fun.
Up, saying she had found this little cabin buried back in the trees and weeds, I had to see it. She took me farther than normal, following the creek.
Why? Why? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's probably someone's house. Like, this is what I mean. Y'all have the survival instincts of a wet paper towel. You're the dumbest people ever.
And found it through a break in some super overgrown bushes. It was rather old. The boards were grayed out.
Like, how do you see that and be like, yeah, let's go look in the window? What are we doing? What are we doing?
And the roof was dipping on one side. We'd been exploring those woods forever, so the fact that we'd never seen this place before felt both crazy and super exciting. We were both maybe 20 feet from the front door when this super loud scream made us stop cold.
And you still went to go look at the window. Are we dead ass?
And that's how we got into this situation with...
Hear me out. Stay all the way back there and call the fucking cops.
This scary man and this woman almost hanging on her life. We waited until the man put his camera down on the table and walked out the front door. We could hear his boots on the porch. Riley pointed at the back of the cabin. She had spotted a door. We crawled to it. Riley tried the handle, and it opened. We stayed low and moved fast. Riley reached the woman first and started fumbling with the ropes on her wrists, while I kept a panicked eye on the front door. The woman's eyes nearly popped out of her head when she saw us.
Leave.
She sobbed, shaking her head, but Riley already had one hand loose, and I'd managed to free her ankles. Just as she managed to scramble up, the front door flew open, and the guy barged in.
W print.
We bolted before he could even get close. For someone who'd just been tied up, that woman was surprisingly fast. We hit the woods at full sprint. I could hear the guy right behind us, crashing through the brush and screaming at us to stop, yelling we had no idea what we were doing.
This way.
I grabbed her hand and steered her toward the fence, while Riley took the lead. We made it to the fence line in maybe 5 minutes. I squeezed through the usual gap. Riley followed, and I turned back to help the woman through.
Oh my god, she couldn't fit. Are we fucking dead?
But she'd stopped right at the edge of the trees.
If you cross that fence, I'll make sure the whole of your bloodline feels sorry, Monica.
The
Shiver me timbers.
man yelled. The woman was wailing now. She told us she was sorry, but we should just head home and forget all about it.
No.
She hiccuped before she turned around and walked back into the woods.
Stupid! Stupid!
Riley and I ran to our house and told our dad everything. He immediately called 911. Officers went to the
Scott McCall?
cabin that night. By the time they got there, it was
He's a true alpha!
burning. The fire had been set recently from inside. When it burned out, there was nothing left but the foundation and some metal from the roof. They never found the man or the woman. Investigators checked missing persons reports against the description we gave of her for months afterward, but nothing matched. I'm a corporate attorney now, and Riley's a nurse over in Charlotte. We still bring it up every time we hang out. We've gotten over the trauma, but the whole episode wouldn't leave our heads. We still can't wrap our heads around why someone so close to getting away would choose to go back to that nightmare. What kind of hold did he have on her that she chose that agony?
A psychological one.
Voluntarily.
I'm sorry.
Riley and I have spent years playing that over in our minds. We still couldn't settle on an answer. Whenever I see stories about people staying in messed up situations, I think of her. From the outside, it makes no sense, but there was obviously something going on that we couldn't see. I just really hope she eventually found a way out.
We need Patrick Jane.
For real. We moved to Westlake right after Dad passed away from a heart attack when I was 6. Mom thought Hardin County had too many ghosts, and we needed a clean slate.
So your mom's crazy? Okay.
I missed
Good way to start
huge
off.
house, the tall trees and all that open land for a bit, but once school started and I made the baseball team, Hardin County became a place I used to live. Eventually, Mom also started teaching at an elementary school a few blocks away and met another teacher who actually made her laugh again. As the years went by, both of us moved on, but the recurring nightmare stayed. I started having it maybe a year after Dad passed, and it never really stopped. In the dream, I see myself standing in the woods at night while it's pouring, with thunder and lightning rumbling overhead. There's a small cabin right at the tree line with a single light on inside. I head up to the window and see a guy sitting in a rocking chair, facing away from me.
Like, why are y'all so investigative? Like, mind your business. I actually don't get it. I probably missed out on so many of these encounters, and I'm not upset about it. Like, y'all need to stop being so fucking nosy.
He rocks for a moment before he slowly turns around and stares. His face is covered in thick, old-school stage makeup. His eyes are bulging out, and his teeth are crooked. Up close, he looks even more horrifying.
Why do all of these men resemble the Joker?
Come close, Peter. He calls, laughing like a maniac.
He knew your name?
I start panicking, but can't move. My teeth chatter, and right as he stands up to grab me, I wake up sweating and screaming for help. For the longest
Oh, it's a dream. I forgot. Okay.
time, I just figured it was the grief messing with my head. My mom always backed that up too. She'd tell me I had a wild imagination and that I shouldn't overthink things. So I kept it to myself. But the dream didn't go away and kept showing up well into my mid-20s. Right before homecoming that year, my girlfriend Kathy walked out on me. She told me she couldn't handle being with a guy who constantly screamed and talked in his sleep. That was my wake-up call. I knew I needed to get some professional help. A friend pointed me toward a psychiatrist named Dr. Halloran. I laid it all out for him. After listening to my story, he told me that having a dream this vivid and consistent for over 20 years definitely wasn't normal. That could be a buried memory, Peter. Sometimes your brain locks away traumatic fragments in your subconscious, even when your conscious mind can't remember them. He suggested the only way to make the dream stop would be to go back to that old property and figure out exactly what happened, but I don't remember where that property was. I was trying to pinpoint its location based on the fuzzy memories I had left when the hospital called. Mom had taken a tumble at school, and the scans
Taken a tumble?
were alarming. She sounded more drained than scared on the phone. She told me she wanted to see me and handle some paperwork. When I drove up to Cleveland, there was a folder waiting for me. Inside was the deed to our ancestral Hardin County property.
Sell it as soon as you can. Don't let it sit there. Promise me you won't.
Her desperation sounded weird, but I thought maybe the memories of Dad were still too much for her. I took the folder home and let it sit on my desk for 2 weeks before I finally got around to spreading the property map out under my lamp one night. The place was way bigger than I thought. It was mostly woods, but tucked in the northwest corner
Can we fucking get to the point,
was
bro?
this tiny, unlabeled square. I tried to remember what it was, but couldn't.
I'm gonna take a wild guess on what's gonna happen. He goes to the property, he sees the man that's in his dreams. Whoa, you dreamed an event that actually ends up happening. That's the whole fucking story. It's not that
Drawn
interesting.
by dread and curiosity, I headed out to the county the first day off I got. The old farmhouse was still there, but barely standing. The roof was caving in on one side and the windows were all smashed out. I spent a while hiking around the property until I finally reached the northwest corner. I found the cabin exactly where the map showed it. It was merely a bunch of weathered gray boards with the woods closing in from every direction. As soon as I laid eyes on it, I got this pit in my stomach. My heart started pounding as I walked in. Inside, the place smelled like rotting wood and mildew. I kept walking and came across a trap door in the floor with a massive padlock on it. My vision started flashing, and my hands were shaking so badly that it took me a while to finally pry it open. Once it finally gave way, a blast of cold, damp air hit me square in the face. Looking down, I saw familiar concrete steps heading into the dark basement. The walls were lined with shelves overflowing with old film canisters, VHS tapes, and trashed cardboard sleeves and heavy binders. I reached for the nearest binder and flipped it open. I couldn't even make it 30 seconds before I lost my lunch. In each one of them, my dad was doing stuff I couldn't even utter. The people in those videos were the same ones who'd gone missing 2 decades ago. I remembered them from the posters and newspapers, and in every single shot, he was wearing that same thick, creepy stage makeup. I sat there in my car out in the field for what felt like forever, as everything started coming back to me in bits and pieces. I was only 6, and it was pouring rain. I woke up to the screams and laughter and followed the light to the cabin window. There, I saw him through the glass.
So his dad was a fucking, like, psychopathic murderer and he just, like, blocked out all of it.
Out of a bloody, barely conscious man. My mom found me standing out there in the storm, carried me back to the house, and tucked me in without ever saying a single word about it.
Oh, so she fucking knew? Oh, okay.
She knew.
Okay.
I called the Hardin County Sheriff right from that field and told them exactly what was in the basement before I drove back to Cleveland. One glance at me, and Mom knew I'd figured it out. She broke down.
Bitch, why didn't you tell him?
Crying, telling me she was only trying to protect her family.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Oh my gosh, I hate it when parents say that bullshit.
I was disgusted.
Holy fucking soap opera.
Walked out. We haven't really talked since. Forensics spent about 2 weeks tearing the place apart and found the remains of 4 men buried in the woods. My dad
Awesome sauce.
had been dead for 11 years, so he never had to answer for any of it. The nightmares stopped that night I made that call. I wish I could say it feels like closure, but it mostly feels like I traded one mystery for a much darker reality. I graduated from Oregon State University in June with a degree in
Hey, yeah, that's where I'm at.
environmental science. I loved exploring in the woods, so when my roommate told me about this hiking trail, I decided to go. I drove up to the woods north of Tillamook on a Friday afternoon and pulled into a trailhead lot that only had a couple of other cars. I'd packed light since I was only staying one night. The trail was easy to follow for the first few hours before it started getting kinda sketchy.
Oh my god, let me guess. The fucker found a cabin and starts investigating it.
Around 4:30, I hit a bad patch of loose gravel on a ridge descent and went down hard.
Fucking loser.
I tumbled about 15 feet before a tree root stopped my slide. When I tried sitting up, my right ankle hurt so bad that I screamed. To top it off, my phone screen was spiderweb from the fall. It still turned on, but the touchscreen was basically useless. I sat there for probably 10 minutes, thinking through my options. I was at least 2 hours from the trailhead on a good angle, and the temperature was already dropping. Staying put overnight alone with an injury in those woods was a bad idea. I grabbed a branch big enough to use as a crutch and started hobbling along. About an hour in, I caught a whiff of wood smoke. I followed the scent and stumbled upon this tiny rundown cabin that looked like the forest was trying to swallow
Oh my fucking god.
it. It was tucked between massive trees on all sides.
Like, okay, a cabin out there that far, they're there for a fucking reason. Why are we disturbing it?
But I could see a light flickering in the window. Figuring it might be a private rental for hikers or maybe an old, unmaintained ranger cabin, I knocked, hoping whoever was inside could help me. An elderly Asian woman who looked to be in her late 60s answered.
She knows some shit. You're cooked.
Was wearing a chunky gray cardigan with some flour dusted on the sleeves. Her silver hair was pulled back in a loose tie.
Hi, I'm Liz Harper.
I explained how I'd come out to the woods for a little break, but ended up having a nasty accident. She told me her name was May, and said I was more than welcome to stay for a bit. I thanked her and stepped inside. The cabin was tiny and felt pretty dated.
What the fuck is Gam Gam doing? Where is this story going?
She had me sit down in the only chair in the room so she could take a look at my ankle. She went over to a shelf full of clay jars and started mixing a few things. It turned into a dark greenish...
Oh, she's a witch. I don't care that your ankle's broken. Fucking go through the pain.
Paste that smelled like pine needles. She packed it around my ankle and wrapped it with some strips of cloth. Within minutes, the injury had healed.
Alright, bro. Like, shut up. This story's so fake.
Holy cow! What is that stuff? Just some medicine I make. You want some tea?
Yeah, either she's a fucking witch or this story's a bunch of bullshit.
I nodded. While May got the tea going, we chatted.
Why is it red?
She told me she'd been living out here off the grid for over 20 years, making herbal cures.
Yeah, so the CIA doesn't figure out what she can do.
And growing all her own food.
My son's been really sick for a while now. I'm doing everything in my power to pull him through.
Power. See? I fucking told you. Witch.
I'm sorry. It's all right. Would you like to meet him?
I agreed. She took me to the back of the cabin, where a guy in his early 20s was lying on a bed that looked way too small for him. To me...
Is he just fucking dead?
He actually seemed pretty healthy. May kept talking about his illness, but I could barely focus on what she was saying. The guy looked really, really familiar. I racked my brain and suddenly recognized him from the missing persons flyer stapled to a pole right outside the coffee shop in Corvallis where I worked.
How long did you say he had been sick? Since he was born. Excuse me, I need to start preparing his meals now.
I waited until May was back in the kitchen before I started shaking him awake. He came to slowly, totally spaced out, but...
Alright, I'm gonna need the dogs to stop barking. Okay, we're locked in.
The second he realized I was there, he lunged and grabbed my wrist. He'd rasped out that she had drugged him and brought him here. He'd been trapped there for weeks, and every time he felt strong enough to try and bolt, she'd hit him with some medicine that totally wiped him out. We need to leave. Before we even had a chance to make a break for it, I heard May's foot...
Bro, she's fucking like 5'4" and brittle. Just pack her out. What's the problem?
Steps thumping down the hallway. A second later, she was standing in the doorway. She still had that smile on her face, but her eyes had turned dead and ice cold.
I made you kids some dinner. Come eat.
The guy managed to get up, but he was incredibly shaky. I hooked my arm under him to prop him up and told May that we were leaving.
Slap her with the cane. Fuck. Yo, what are y'all barking at? Yo, there better be a fucking fire outside. Oh my god. Oh my god. Are you done? Alright.
She kept staring. I noticed her fingers fumbling with the little packet, like she was about to throw something at us. Before she could do anything, I swung my crutch with everything I had. It clipped her hard on the shoulder.
Hell yeah! You sit that bitch down!
Sending her stumbling into the doorframe. We shoved past her and scrambled out the front door into the night. As we ran, I could hear her crying out behind us. She was wailing about being abandoned, but we didn't stop until we reached a ranger station. Nathan spilled everything. He said she'd picked him up hitchhiking and kept him for months. The ranger called for an ambulance and the cops right away. By the next afternoon, officers were already on their way to the cabin. But by the time they made it, she had fled. Nathan spent 2 days in the hospital before his family drove up from Portland. His toxicology report cited a plant-derived sedative that they couldn't even identify. If I hadn't showed up and recognized him when I did, he'd have eventually started to fade. The cops are still trying to track her down, but I seriously doubt she'll turn up anytime soon. She's way too clever and determined for that. She was on a mission, and if Nathan couldn't deliver, she'd probably already be out there, looking for the next person who could.
That was an alright video. Let's move on to the next one. Declassified CIA Secrets Too Insane to Believe. This one's gonna be fucking awesome. I'm locked in. Like father, like son. His dad is Chop. Oh. He had clown makeup on. What do you expect?
Some CIA operations were so outrageous they were kept secret for years. Today we'll open the files and discover the most unbelievable ones. A CIA manual that taught people how to act stupid, a plan to destroy the enemy using condoms, and a double agent who ruined a top secret
using condoms
before it began. These are dark secrets found in declassified CIA documents. The goal, guys, is 2.5 million subscribers by the end of 2026. It is crazy, so it would mean the world if you subscribe, and I will do my very best to put out the best videos I possibly can for you. I'm Visual Venture, and you are amazing. How the CIA created a vampire. CIA agents
what the fuck
are masters of manipulation, and in the 1950s they used that skill in a disturbing way. The CIA discovered the deepest fears of several men. Then they turned that fear into a real-life monster. By the time it was over, grown men were running for their lives. This operation happened in the Philippines in 1950. Back then, the Philippine government was fighting a rebel group called the Hooks.
The Hooks? Hook stands for Hukbong Bayan Laban sa Hapon, which literally means People's Army against the Japanese.
The Hooks were armed and dangerous. They moved through the countryside, causing problems for the government. The authorities wanted them stopped, so the CIA stepped in to help fight the rebels. But the CIA had its own reason for getting involved.
Whenever you read about the Hooks in American or pretty much any official history text, they're kind of just called an offshoot of the Soviet Union.
They believed the Hooks were backed by communists, and America wanted to stop communism before it spread further. But the CIA didn't send an army to crush the rebels. They sent one man. He was one of their most dangerous manipulators. The CIA officer was named Edward Lansdale. Before working with the agency, he worked in advertising.
Lansdale was an advertising executive in San Francisco.
That is a background that a CIA officer should have. Like, understanding how people behave and react to certain things is very important.
From that job, he developed knowledge as to how people's minds work.
Can I show? Alright, that's what I just fucking said. Awesome sauce. I don't care about the stock market, bro. I'm trying to see corrupt CIA agents. That seems more important right now.
Advertising is about influencing how people think and feel. That background shaped the way Lansdale fought. He believed in using psychology to defeat the enemy. As soon as he arrived in the Philippines, Lansdale learned everything he could about the rebels. He looked at what they loved, what they feared, and what they believed. Soon he had a breakthrough. He realized that many villagers, including the rebels, were very superstitious. They believed in spirits, witchcraft, and monsters. One monster terrified them more than any other. It was called the Aswang.
The Aswang is one of the most feared monsters in Filipino folklore, which dates back to at least the 16th century.
The Aswang is a terrifying creature that hunted people at night. Some believed it drank blood. It was pretty similar to a vampire. To Lansdale, the Aswang wasn't just a superstition. It was a weapon waiting to be used. The Hook rebels set up camp on a hill. That was their base. That hill gave them a place to rest, hide, and plan their attacks. Lansdale's team wanted to drive the Hooks away, but instead of attacking the camp, they started a rumor. Lansdale sent men into nearby villages to spread a story. The men swore they saw an Aswang in the forest near the hill. They said it was hunting people at night. They acted extremely scared. The rumors spread. A few days later, the rebels heard it, but they didn't leave the hill. So Lansdale moved to the next phase of his plan. One night, a group of Hook rebels walked through the forest. They were about a dozen men moving in a single file, but it was dark. Lansdale's men waited nearby. As the rebels passed, Lansdale's men quietly grabbed the last man in the line. The other rebels just kept walking. They didn't realize anyone was missing until they reached their camp on the hill.
We don't know the name of the man who comes last in the line. All we know is that at some point he's no longer part of the patrol.
The rebels wondered where their man was, so they went back into the forest to search for him. That's when Lansdale finished the plan. His team ended the life of the missing rebel and punctured his neck with 2 holes, vampire fashion. Then they left his body on the trail for the others to find. Soon the rebels found the body. They noticed the bite marks on his neck, and they remembered the rumor about the Aswang in the woods. They panicked.
Every member of the patrol believed that the Aswang had got him.
The next day, the rebels packed
so fucking stupid. Like, how do y'all fall for that?
Up and abandoned the hill. The CIA's trick worked. For decades, this operation remained secret. But in 1972, Lansdale published a memoir. It had stories about his time in the Philippines. He also described how he created this fake vampire or Aswang to scare rebels away. The public was amazed, but some people had doubts. They found it hard to believe that kind of plan actually worked.
I don't think they would give up their own hideout because of an Aswang scare. Let's remember that this group of men Lansdale was talking of were not ordinary men, but guerrilla fighters.
Whatever people believe, one thing is certain. The rebels left that hill and they never came back. What actually beat the Hooks wasn't a weapon. It was information about them in the wrong hands. And right now, there are companies that have your information and are using it against you.
Another ad.
It's our data broker tried and failed data and monitor dollars, and click the link. Is a declassified tool that taught people how to be annoying in order to defeat the enemy. The CIA's Guide to Acting Stupid.
So literally just rage baiting the enemy. So that was an actual method. Rage bait? That's awesome.
In 2008, the CIA declassified a special book. It was a manual written by American spies. Naturally, the public rushed to see what was inside. They expected tips on fighting, code breaking, and other exciting stuff. But when they opened it, they were shocked, because that spy manual was basically a book teaching people how to act stupid. It was titled The Simple Sabotage Field Manual. It was written in the 1940s by the Office of Strategic Services, or OSS, which was the agency that eventually became the CIA.
Wait, so if I buy this book, I can literally master rage baiting? What's it called again?
They created the manual during World War II to solve a specific problem. At the time, Hitler had already taken over many countries in Europe.
I did not know that's where this video was going.
That meant citizens in those countries were now living under Nazi rule. When the Nazis took over a country, life didn't just stop. Trains still had to run. Factories had to produce supplies. Farms needed to operate. So the citizens were forced to keep these systems running under German control. However, that put those ordinary citizens in a strategic position. They worked inside the very factories, train yards, and offices the Nazis depended on. It was the perfect opportunity for sabotage. That's when the American spies wrote the Sabotage Manual. The idea behind the book was genius. It encouraged citizens to make daily life unbearable for the Nazis. They could do that by creating problems that looked like accidents. Things like starting fires, flooding warehouses, or breaking tools.
The weapons in this manual were salt and nails and candles and pebbles and sugar and dust.
The manual called it purposeful stupidity.
Like sprinkling dirt into mechanical equipment to cause failures, or something as simple as constantly dropping your tools while working.
On their own, these actions looked small, but together they could slow everything down.
Seemingly innocuous actions that, when applied cumulatively, stall the hell out of the war effort.
The manual also had advice for people forced to work in Nazi offices. It gave managers creative ways to waste time at work.
Hold conferences when there is more critical work to be done.
Bring up irrelevant issues as frequently as possible.
Work slower.
Yeah, it is. This is actually kind of genius, though.
In general, don't teach new people how to do the job properly.
They were also told to cry at work, spread gossip about coworkers, and ask their bosses annoying questions. These were small acts of resistance that looked like normal behavior. Eventually, World War II ended. The Nazis were defeated, and people stopped using the manual. Years passed, and people forgot that it ever existed. Then in 2008, the CIA released some old files. Among them was the Sabotage Manual. The public read it, and they noticed something familiar. A lot of the sabotage advice sounded like what happens in workplaces today. Pointless meetings, slow decisions, useless arguments. Someone on Reddit joked that their workplace is full of spies. Others said the manual is basically how to be a manager or supervisor 101. The Simple Sabotage Field Manual is actually on the CIA website today. This next chapter is about a CIA plan to scare millions of kids using a toy. The toy the CIA tried to hide. Some CIA projects sound fake, even after you read the actual files. This one is one of those unbelievable projects. It involved a terrorist, a toy, and millions of kids. In 2006, Osama bin Laden was hiding. He was the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks in America. Behind the scenes, bin Laden was trying to recruit more followers. He had many supporters, especially in the Middle East. In some places, even children saw him as a hero. The CIA wanted to destroy that image, so they launched Operation Devil's Eyes. The goal was simple: make kids in the Middle East fear and hate bin Laden. To accomplish that, the CIA needed a toy made to look like bin Laden. They were Osama bin Laden dolls, and the code name for these dolls was Devil Eyes.
They were Osama bin Laden dolls. That's right, we've got a couple images of them here. The code name for these bin Laden dolls was Devil Eyes.
The CIA had no experience designing toys, so they reached out to someone who did. His name was Donald Levine. He was one of the greatest minds in the toy industry and a former executive at Hasbro. Levine was a legend in the toy world. He was the man who created the G.I. Joe action figures. That's how big he was. Levine joined the project and arranged for the dolls to be produced. This is what he created. At first glance, it looked like a simple action figure of bin Laden, but the doll had a disturbing trick built in.
The face of the figures was painted with a heat-dissolving material, which was designed to peel off and reveal a red-faced bin Laden who looked like a demon.
Simply put, the face could change from normal to terrify.
Yo, this is so fucked up though.
Go from this to this demon face. It was psychological warfare. If children saw bin Laden as a monster, they might stop seeing him as a hero. But the CIA had one last problem. They had to get the dolls.
Dude, what is this fucking clicking sound you're putting in the background, bro? It's pissing me off.
Children without anyone tracing
Stop!
it back.
It sounds like there's a bug in my headset.
The plan was to send these toys, cheaply packaged in backpacks alongside school supplies and other toys, to the Afghanistan-Pakistan region.
The dolls would be distributed as part of a charity drive. They would be handed out along with school supplies and other helpful items. Everything was set. All the CIA had to do was mass produce the dolls. But at the last minute, they took one last look at the samples.
There were only 3 individual action figures ever created, and these were merely to show what a final product might look like.
And they decided not to move forward with the plan. He never explained why. The 3 sample dolls were stored away with the project files. For years, almost no one knew Devil Eyes existed. Then in 2014, one of the dolls mysteriously went up for auction.
An Osama bin Laden action figure is being auctioned off in the US with a starting price of $2,500.
The CIA's hidden project was no longer hidden.
The doll is one of 3 figurines originally commissioned by the CIA to distribute to children in the Middle East in a bid to stop them joining Al-Qaeda.
But that only made the story stranger. No one seemed to know how a secret CIA doll ended up for sale.
It's not clear how auction house Nate D. Sanders procured the doll, but operators say the rare item comes with a letter of authenticity.
One doll eventually sold for over $11,000. Another was later sold for more than $6,000. The doll never reached the children it was designed for, but it showed how far the CIA was willing to go to destroy their enemy's image. This next chapter is about an intimate object that the CIA tried to turn into a weapon. The CIA's condom conspiracy.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on here?
CIA operation sounded like a childish prank, but it was serious. The goal was to embarrass enemy soldiers in a deeply personal way. And to do it, the CIA used something almost everyone has access to, a condom. In the 1950s, the CIA created a department called the Office of Policy Coordination. It was top secret. Their job was simple: find ways to weaken America's enemies without firing a shot. The idea was that you didn't always need to fight with physical weapons. Sometimes embarrassing the enemy could be just as effective. Soon the department came up with a plan, but it sounded like a bad joke.
The plan was to distribute American military-grade condoms, sized extra large, but mark them as medium and somehow smuggle or scatter them into the Soviet Union.
The plan had 3 steps. Step 1, buy thousands of extra large condoms. Step 2, change the labels on the boxes from extra large to medium. Step 3, drop the mislabeled boxes in enemy territory. The planners predicted what would happen next. A Soviet soldier finds the packet. He reads the label. He sees the size, maybe even tries it on. Then he starts comparing himself to American men.
The hope? That Soviet men would encounter them and think, dear God, this is what American men consider average? And then spiral into self-doubt.
It was supposed to create deep-seated personal...
God, that's like so smart though. Oh my gosh, these people are fucking villains, bro.
Security.
The idea was to undermine Soviet morale by implying that American men were physically superior.
It was a childish plan, but the CIA felt that morale could be attacked in small ways. For some reason, the plan was never carried out, but it was a kind of idea that was too ridiculous to forget. People around the agency kept talking about it. It became an inside joke. Decades later, the files were declassified, and the internet laughed about how this insane operation almost happened. This next chapter is about 6 Americans who were being hunted by thousands of people in a city, so the CIA had to come up with an outrageous plan. The CIA's most bizarre rescue mission. This rescue mission involved one man with a briefcase. 6 people were trapped in a very dangerous country and the CIA needed to get them out. But these people couldn't run or fight, so they had to build an entire escape plan around a lie. Create a fake Hollywood movie. It happened in 1979. Iran was going through a revolution. The citizens just overthrew their ruler known as the Shah. To many Iranians, the Shah was a tyrant, and they blamed the US for helping him stay in power for decades. When the Shah was overthrown, he fled to America, but Iranians wanted him sent back to face justice. The situation was already tense. Then the US gave the Shah asylum. That decision poured fuel on the fire. To many Iranians, America was protecting their enemy.
America is being accused of aiding and abetting the hated exiled dictator.
Protesters burned American flags and chanted in the streets. Soon, the anger reached another level. A mob stormed the US embassy in Iran. Any American caught inside could be detained, interrogated, or executed. Dozens of US citizens were captured in minutes, but the mob didn't get everyone. During the chaos, 6 Americans slipped out of the embassy. They ran through back alleys hiding from protesters, but they were trapped in Iran, surrounded by thousands of people who wanted to hurt them. Hours later, the 6 Americans found a place to hide. They went to the home of the Canadian ambassador in Iran. He took them in immediately, knowing what it would cost him if they were discovered. But they couldn't stay there forever. Iran's new government wanted every missing American found. He deployed the Revolutionary Guards to round up any American personnel that may have escaped into the city. The 6 were being hunted.
They're literally going from house to house to house.
The 6 Americans discussed their options for leaving the country. They couldn't just walk into an airport and fly home. They had American passports, so they could be arrested at the airport. They also couldn't drive out of the country. They would be stopped at a checkpoint or border. There was no clean way out. That's when the CIA became involved. The best spies in the world were given this assignment: find a way to get the 6 Americans out safely. CIA agents came up with many cover stories.
Could they be school teachers? Well, the schools are all closed. Could they be technicians from the oil field?
None of the ideas seemed convincing. Then a CIA officer named Tony Mendez came up with a unique idea. What if the 6 Americans posed as a Canadian film crew? The idea solved several problems at once. They could say they came to Iran to scout locations for a movie, and it explained why 6 foreigners were leaving the country as a group. The timing also worked in their favor.
The cultural sector of the new...
This guy clickbaits me a lot. He said, like, make a Hollywood movie. They're just posing as writers.
Iranian government still wants to attract foreign currency, and that includes film investment.
It was the perfect cover story, but there was one problem. The Iranians could check if the movie was real, so the CIA had to make a fake film look like a real Hollywood production. First, they needed a movie script. The CIA bought the rights to a script called Argo. It was a sci-fi story that was similar to Star Wars. Then they created...
I take it back, they actually wrote a movie.
A fake production company called Studio 6. They even rented an office and installed a working phone line.
They got signs made for the doors. Studio 6. Tony did the artwork for a piece that appeared in Variety.
On paper, Studio 6 was a working film company. The next step was the most dangerous. Someone had to fly into Iran and walk the 6 Americans out in person. Tony Mendez flew into Iran pretending to be a Canadian movie producer. He got through the airport. Then he made his way to the Canadian ambassador's house. He met with 6 Americans and laid out the plan. He gave each of them a Canadian passport with a new identity. But paper wasn't enough. If anyone asked questions, they had to answer perfectly. They needed to know their fake name, their fake jobs, and everything about the fake movie.
And they had to study scripts, they had to study backgrounds, they had to sound like they could convincingly carry out the role they were supposed to carry out.
Once they could answer without hesitating, there was nothing left to prepare. They had to get through the airport. The day finally came. Tony and the 6 Americans walked into the Tehran airport. They were carrying Canadian documents with fake identities. They made it through the first security check, but they still had to pass immigration. Some of their documents were forged. One careful look was all it would take, but they were lucky.
He grabbed our passports, pulled the cards out, handed them back to us, didn't even look at us at all.
The group made it through immigration. Then there was a delay with the flight.
We are sorry to inform you that Swiss Air Flight 363 will be delayed due to mechanical problems.
But eventually the flight was called. They boarded.
How was there, like, deadass, how was there always a problem with the plane? It makes no sense to me. Y'all do this for your whole job is flying planes, and somehow there's something wrong with the plane every single time there's a flight. Why is the plane not ready when my boarding time says? It'll say 6:30. I never leave at 6:30. It's a bunch of bullshit.
The plane and took off. They were out of Iran. For the next 17 years, the CIA kept its role in the rescue hidden. Then in 1997, the agency declassified the files. Only then did the world learn the truth. The rescue was so impressive that Hollywood actually made a movie about it. They called it Argo. This next CIA operation was a disaster because one of the men involved was secretly working for the enemy. The CIA's
Oh shit! Now we got some juicy stuff going
impossible
on.
secret tunnel. This CIA
secret tunnel
operation was a real-life Mission Impossible. It involved digging a secret tunnel under enemy territory where getting caught meant execution. That alone made it dangerous. Then one of the men who helped plan it turned out to be a traitor. He leaked the whole operation before it even started. The mission was called Operation Gold. It happened in Berlin in 1954. At the time, Americans and the Soviet Union were deep in the Cold War. Both sides were spying on each other non-stop, and Berlin was one of the most important places for spies. The city was packed with soldiers, diplomats, and informants from multiple countries.
And you've got British, American, and Soviet spies all flocking to the city to try to get their hands on any sort of information that can give their country just a little bit of an edge.
Then American and British spies heard something. Soviet commanders in Berlin stopped using radios for sensitive calls.
Radio communications were easily intercepted, and ciphers and codes could be cracked, as evidenced during the Second World War.
Instead, they switched to underground phone lines.
Yeah, they got your patch notes, bro.
The Soviets believed those lines couldn't be touched. They were wrong. If the CIA could tap into those cables, they could hear Soviet military plans in real time. The problem was reaching them. The cables were underground in an area watched by the Soviets, so the CIA came up with a plan. They would dig a tunnel under Berlin and reach the cables from below. It was risky, so almost no one was told about it. Only a tiny circle of people knew about the plan, and one person in that circle was working for the other side. Before a single shovel touched the ground, the plan was laid out in secret meetings. One of the men in those meetings was George Blake. George was a British intelligence officer. He was also a double agent. Years earlier, he read books about communism and switched sides.
Having decided he wanted to work against his own agency and country, he handed a note to his captors offering his services as a spy.
George pretended to be loyal to Britain and America.
What the fuck is going on here? Like, I know the video's not about this, but I'm so hyper-focused at the atrocity on his face. What is happening here?
But every secret that crossed his desk was passed to the Soviet Union. So when George found out about the secret tunnel, he handed those notes to his Soviet contact. That left the Soviets with a choice. If they blew up the tunnel right away, it would be obvious someone tipped them off. So instead, the Soviets sat on what they knew.
The Soviets made a decision to allow the tunnel to be built.
But they were waiting for the right time to strike. The Americans and British moved forward with the operation. They built a warehouse on top to hide the entrance of the tunnel. From there, crews dug straight towards Soviet cables. Once the tunnel was finished, they installed listening equipment to tap the phone lines. For nearly a year, the CIA and British intelligence eavesdropped on thousands of Soviet phone calls. The mission looked like a huge success, but it really wasn't. The Soviets knew they were being listened to, so the calls that mattered most were never made on that line at all. In 1956, the Soviets decided it was time. They made it look like they discovered the tunnel by accident.
The Soviets discovered the tunnel after heavy rains revealed the cables on the streets of East Berlin.
Then they invited the press to see the tunnel. They hoped the scandal would embarrass the Americans, but it backfired. Reporters weren't outraged, they were impressed.
Other Western nations are not downtrodden at the discovery. They're impressed by the technology. They're impressed that we were capable of something quite so bold.
Meanwhile, the CIA still had no idea that George Blake was a double agent that sold them out from day one. 5 years later, the truth came out. In 1961, some Soviet spies defected and revealed that George Blake was working for them. George was arrested.
He's still breathing?
He was tried, found guilty of spying, and sent to prison for a total of 42 years.
Only then did the CIA finally piece it together. Operation Gold was doomed before it even began. In 2007, the CIA declassified files about the operation.
While the CIA declassifies a report on the top secret mission in 2007, it has never fully disclosed the intelligence gathered.
They revealed how the tunnel was built, but they never shared what they actually heard on those Soviet phone lines.
Lame!
These declassified CIA stories are strange, but they're also a warning. Powerful people can make secret choices that affect real lives. So my friends, don't trust what you're told. Not by a government, not by what's trending on your Instagram feed. Do the research yourself, because the truth doesn't always go viral. Visual Venture.
That was a good ass fucking video. No, I'm not listening
Before
to
you
your
go.
sponsor. Sorry. That was a really good video. All right, last one of the night. How the internet cracked a 36-year-old case and started a manhunt. Lock in. Oh
Of
my
a
god, it's
teenage
40 minutes.
girl
Okay.
Who had no name, her identity a mystery that police believed impossible to solve. That was until 36 years later when a group of amateur internet sleuths finally cracked the case. Thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's
Fuck
video.
off.
More about them later. November 9th, 1979. In the rural town of Caledonia, 16-year-old Wesley Clementis was driving with his father, Harry, on their usual route to a local diner for a morning cup of coffee.
I'm sorry, this guy's voice is pissing me off. Do I even want to finish this video?
As they passed through their family's cornfield, Wesley spotted something unusual near the edge of the field.
Okay, no, I can't. I actually can't. I actually can't finish this video. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind if I listen to that guy's voice for 40 minutes. I'm sorry, I can't finish that video. We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. We can try and find another one. How Scientology destroyed a popular skateboarding channel. No, we're not watching that. I caught him. Should I watch a Gideon video at some point? I was a stalker. Oh, worst confessions on Reddit? Yeah, let's do
Brilliant
that one.
students have gotten into MIT at 15, won countless Olympiad medals, and
This
built
was 20
billion-dollar
minutes.
companies.
This is the official
We
last
created
video of the
based
night.
on
Lock
secrets
it.
of their success. Introducing Koji from Brilliant.
Get on with it.
Confessions. The internet's favorite place to share their secrets. But at what point can secrets be too dark for the internet?
What the Yo, what?
My name is Invoction, and today we're going to be reading some of the worst confessions on Reddit. Some of these are going to be pretty wild, so make sure you guys watch until the end. And if you guys are new here, make sure you subscribe. My goal is 5,000 subs, and I know we can hit that goal. And if you guys are listeners, check out the Spotify. The link will be in the description. I love all of you guys so much, and with that being said, let's just get right into the video. I caused my roommate's girlfriend to unknowingly eat my...
What the fuck? This is how we're starting off? I'm so worried.
Ages were 19, me, 19, roommate, 18, roommate's girlfriend.
Why is that a detail you're putting in? I'm so
Sick
scared.
of our respective home lives, one of my best friends and I decided to move out and rent a house together. Things were going great for a while, but the little things started to add up to a major resentment
I'm
for me.
so fucking
First off,
scared.
was that she was living there, even though the agreement was for the two of us to live there and half the bills. They never offered to go thirds after she moved in, and at the time and age, I was too timid to bring it up. Next up were the dogs. I'm a cat person, always have been, but I still don't.
I already fucking hate this guy. I didn't even need, like, the prompt of the story. I already hate you.
Dogs. I just don't particularly love them either.
Oh, never mind. You're fine.
Going into the agreement that there would be a dog and was fine with it. She was a sweet old collie that just wanted to sleep and occasionally be petted. Then came the day they brought home Satan. Satan,
I'm sorry?
not the dog's real name, was a mini schnauzer who I hated from his first week there.
Right.
He chewed so many cables that I had wires just twisted together to make them work. Finally, there were the dishes. How the two of them used so many dishes is something I still haven't figured out. I had one cup, plate, spoon, etc. that I would wash immediately after use because I hate doing dishes. Between the two of them, they filled the sink every single day and then would not wash them. There are multiple other things as well, but these were the main three.
Yeah, so, like, I'd be pissed off too. But you made them eat your cum as a punishment? I mean, this is fucking insane.
So how does that even begin to explain the title of this post? Well, some stars had to align to make this possible. 1. I had just broken up with my own girlfriend a couple of weeks before.
Yeah, this guy's a fucking psychopath.
More or less going from making love every day to nothing but visits from Rosie Palm. Number 2, the anger and resentment at the housemates had been building up for about a year at this point. And number 3, the roommate's girlfriend, who was a thin, somewhat active girl, ate about a 16-ounce can of chocolate frosting a week. She would keep the can on the fridge and eat it straight with a spoon.
Ew.
On one of my days off from work, I was vegging out on the couch playing games. Being 19 and home alone, I decided to take care of things. As I was finishing up, I realized that I had no way to catch the mess until a vile, nasty, deliciously evil thought popped into my head. I hurried into the kitchen, got the can from the fridge, and proceeded to add my batter to the frosting. After mixing...
Yo, this is... I don't know if I can finish this video either. This is actually fucking insane. What the hell is wrong with this guy?
It together so it wouldn't be visible, I went on about my day. The next day, the three of us were watching a movie when the girlfriend goes and gets her frosting and brings it back to the living room to eat while she watched. I sat there, movie forgotten, as she ate spoonful after spoonful. All the little annoyances that I had been dealing with were suddenly so much more bearable now that I had my secret payback.
Yo, you're fucking psycho.
I think this may be one of the most disgusting confessions I have ever read.
This is so awful! Why? Oh my gosh, I should have picked a different fucking
Just
video.
disgusting.
I didn't expect it to be like this. I thought it was gonna be like, you know... I don't know what I thought it was gonna be, honestly. I thought it was gonna be like, you know, I cheated on someone or some shit like that. You came in a jar of frosting and watched your roommate's girlfriend eat it. I'm so scared for
My
the
mom
next
caught
one.
my dad with a young girl and covered it up.
Okay, see, these were the ones I was expecting. This is still fucking nasty, but like, this is what I normally react to. You know what I'm saying? I don't react to like, fuck that guy.
Well, 16 years ago, we had two of my friends and their mother living with us while they went through a divorce. I was 15 and my friends were 14 and 16. I was away at another friend's house one night. When I came back the following day, my mom told me she had kicked him out because the 16-year-old tried to make a move on my dad. She absolutely slandered that poor girl's name. When I got into my 20s, it still sat in the back of my mind. I just knew I didn't get the truth. So I reached out to the 16-year-old, who was also now in her 20s. We met up and I got the true story. I could see the pain in her eyes. She said she'd been in therapy for years because of my father.
Hack that motherfucker all the way to the ground.
That he did it in
Please.
such a loving way, it really messed her up. She told me she'd been drinking on the property and then they went skinny dipping. All while my mother was in bed pregnant with my sister. They made their way into the house and upstairs, where eventually my mother walked in on them. I let her know I had her back if she ever decided to do anything about it. I am now in my 30s and recently became a mother, and it's all I've been able to think about. They still don't know that I know the truth. It's reawakened the rage in me, especially all of the teenage rage they made me shove down for so long. Because if anyone did that to my daughter, or if I caught my husband in that situation, hell no. It was easy to shove down before because I learned from the best, my parents. But becoming a mother, especially to a daughter, I've never wanted someone to pay for something they've done so bad. I feel like if I brought it up to my mom, she would just get angry and talk shit. She'd probably say the past is the past and I need to let it go. That people can change. But I know he hasn't changed due to events over the recent years with his anger and control issues. He's a very big narcissist who believes he can do no wrong whatsoever. And my mother is so far up its ass. It makes me wonder if the 16-year-old was his only victim. If she was, and if he's never done it again, would that be okay? Is this forgivable? Because I don't feel like it is. I want to tell the whole family, but I feel like they just downplay it and make me seem crazy. Cut me off and turn my siblings against me. They've done it before when I called them out on other things. So here I am. Just needing to get it out, I guess. What would you do?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't paying attention to that story too much because I was texting.
Reddit says,
But I'm
the
locked
fact
in
that he was
again.
so brazen to do this with his wife in the house. He's definitely done it before or since. I'm sorry these were the parents that you were given. I never feel safe leaving my kid alone with either of them. And I have to agree with this 100%. I think it's very alarming if there was a lot of red flags that the dad was so comfortable doing it. You'll see a lot of cases of people doing this kind of stuff, and they almost always do it more than once. Another user agrees with them, saying, "These things are very rarely one-time offenses. The fact that your mother forgave him and he faced no consequences, I'd feel confident saying he's absolutely done this again." The whole thing is just very concerning, and I can only hope that the dad didn't go on to do anything else.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that one. I'm locked in though now. I'm
I
locked
cheated
in.
on my
Don't
girlfriend
worry.
of 4 years throughout the entirety of 2016, and I don't feel bad at all.
Oh, so you're a disgusting asshole. Okay, awesome. Yeah, let's get this started.
I'm planning to ghost her in May and move to another state.
Wow, yeah. Cheating should be illegal.
It was mainly 3 girls I met on Tinder, but there was one more
It's always fucking Tinder. Why is it always fucking Tinder? Like, actually, why is it always Tinder?
I met at a concert. She's a nurse, and she worked so much it was easy. I made sure to take lots of pictures and save all the texts as well. I'm going to leave them for her once I'm gone. I also let her buy me a car last year for my birthday. She thinks we're going to get married and have a future together. She's also basically
Yo, like, I've said this before. Like, I don't want to be one of those people that says I hate all men, but y'all make it so fucking hard! What are you doing?
the financial
What are you doing?
foundation. She
Like, you enjoy the control you have over this person. Like, that's what it is. You're a disgusting human being. You enjoy the thrill of her not knowing about your secret life that you're supposedly doing. You're not a big man, okay? You're a fucking loser.
encouraged me to take the year and focus on school. I took her up on the offer.
And she's a good person, too. Yeah,
She's paying the
that's great. That's great.
rent,
That's great.
all the bills, and both car notes. Why would I do this? I'm sure you're all wondering why I do all this shit. Well, she aborted our baby late in 2015. I've always seen
Her choice, by the way. Just putting it out
and
there.
still see abortion as murder.
I'm mad! Oh, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy sideways. Fuck him with a giant bamboo stick.
We talked about this around the time she was telling me she wanted to do it. She eventually made it clear to me that she was going to do it regardless of my feelings on the matter.
Yeah, that's... Because it's her pregnancy, you dumb fuck.
So I mourned the loss of my child and then decided I'm going to do best to hurt her as badly as I can.
Right.
I pretended
Right.
to support her in her decision. I should have won an Oscar for that performance.
Fuck you. Actually, fuck you.
I have her totally tricked into believing I supported her in her decision. So last year, I set about doing everything I could to keep her stressed and frustrated. Not so frustrated that she'd break up with me, and just happy enough that she'd still be in love with me. She doesn't know that the man she loved died with a child she murdered. In May, I'm gonna disappear from her life and while she's at work and leave evidence of my cheating on our bed for her to find. My only regret is that I won't get to watch her fall to pieces.
I hope this guy gets crucified. This is insane.
So this one was pretty short, but I think you guys get the idea. The guy did some just atrocious things to this girl. It's really horrible, and it makes no sense that the guy didn't just break up with her instead of doing all this horrible stuff. You really just never know what kind of people live amongst you. One user on Reddit says, "Wow, you are a toxic and vile human being.
Yes!
This is how you treat a loved one? When they mess up, you seek to destroy them?"
They didn't mess up, though. Yeah, they didn't mess up. They did nothing wrong.
Someone does something you think is morally wrong, so you hang around and ruin them. This is your line of thinking and you get upset because she does not want to deal with a second sick person like you? Like I said, just
Okay, I like that person again.
very horrible decisions, and I really don't understand it at all. I sometimes have violent daydreams about hurting people. I violently
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we're going on to some crazy shit now. I need to ban this person. Okay.
taken revenge in the past, and I used to unalive small animals too.
Right. Okay. So it's fucking Jeffrey Dahmer.
Do I need help?
You bitch, you know the answer to that question.
This is something I've always wanted to ask someone about, but didn't really know who or where to tell it to.
Right. So you're just gonna post a random thing on Reddit. Awesome.
I think I'm a pretty normal person. I'm shy yet
Are we fucking dead ass? Are we fucking?
outgoing, and I have no trouble making friends wherever I go. People usually describe me as cinnamon roll, sunshine, sweet and kind, etc. And I'm always the one everyone goes to when they need a rant. I'm pretty empathetic and a good listener and offer advice when needed. However, there's something about me they don't know, or even don't want to believe. I have had violent tendencies. When I was a child, I really hated cats, but I don't really know why. I love cats and animals in general now, and they're currently my favorite pets. Whenever I saw
Yeah, the psychos always do love them.
one in our front or backyard, I was always trying to hurt it for some reason, stomping on their tails till they bled, etc.
What the hell?
The earliest incident of this was probably when I was 4 or 5. I was the first to wake up that morning and I wandered off into the backyard. Cats sometimes hide behind the furniture dump at a corner, and it so happened that that morning a mama cat left her very young, probably few weeks old kittens there. I don't know what came over me, but I grabbed a broom, swept a little white kitten to me, I can't reach them with my arms alone, and threw it into the nearby sewer.
Why are we feeding Pennywise your cat? I don't understand.
I can remember the fascination and probably tiny pleasure I felt at watching the kitten meow and flail helplessly. Thankfully, the kitten's meows awoke my dad. Our room was directly behind the backyard, and rushed out to save it with a dustpan. Young me was disappointed. But years later, after we moved to our new home, I had another chance. I think I was around 8 or 9 at this point. It happened again. I woke up early and wandered outside. I spotted a young black cat, and I grabbed it and threw it into a sewer across the street. This sewer was underneath
Okay, what is your obsession with feeding Pennywise cats?
a 2-step alley staircase, so there was no chance of the cat being saved. I listened to it meow and splash until the sounds died away. I felt
What the fuck is wrong with you?
So giddy that I wanted to do it again, and I did. It so happened that one of our neighbors had some pet chicks in a box outside their house. My young cruel ass decided to steal a few and throw them in the same sewer, one by one. It was so satisfying.
Why?
Looking back at it now, I don't understand why I felt this way. Even as a child, I knew it was wrong, and yet that made it all the more thrilling. But I think I felt kinda guilty afterwards, and it never happened again after that. Bugs are an exception. I hate creepy crawlies, and while I am absolutely downright terrified of them, I have went to some experimental lengths to try to unalive them, like pouring salt on worms or pouring shampoo, detergent, bleach, etc. on anything else. Still satisfying when I actually made them thrash. This is where it started to escalate to humans. Fast forward to
There's more to this story?
When you're high school, I got bullied. A lot. And I guess this bullying sort of awoke that violent tendency again. I got tired of being passive, so I kind of snapped and started lashing out at my bullies, swearing revenge every time it happened. I slashed someone's hand with a cutter. I slammed a thick wooden board left over from the boys' home's economics class onto someone's back. I put a few lice from my own hair into someone else's after they teased me for having it. I clawed
why are we at school with lice?
someone's arms until it bled for shooting a rubber band into my eye. And to top it all off, I reported them and they literally begged me on their knees to spare them and their grades. It was funny to watch. Of course, I refused. I remember holding a cutter while eyeing everyone in the room, as they were huddled into a corner looking at me like I was some kind of monster, which I probably was.
Yeah.
The thing is, those were never unprovoked. I never did harm to anyone.
See, you see how he's you see how he's humanizing what he did? Like, those are the signs of a psychopath.
Unless they did something that harmed me first. And the revenge every time was so sweet. Way more pleasurable than unaliving the animals, because this time, I believe they really deserved it, and I had actual reason to do it to them. The bad thing was that violence kinda reached my best friends too. I slammed one's head down while he was drinking out a water fountain after he teased me, and I remember slapping my other friend a lot during that time. They sort of kept their distance from me a little as I spiraled deeper into this vindictive rage. It was also during this time that I started making a lot of art filled with blood and gore and violent stuff.
Yeah.
And come sophomore year, I legit even prepared a revenge pack. It had the cutter and a stapler remover inside. Thank God I never actually had to use it.
Had to? Yo, this guy, okay, someone, FBI needs to be watching this motherfucker.
Anymore. It was a really messed up time. Fortunately, the bullying gradually mellowed out by junior year, and by senior year, things were back to normal. Come college, I was back to my amiable self. College people have been really great. However, there are 2 things from those dark ages that never truly left me. One, I still thirst for revenge,
Right.
I can't seem to get rid of my vindictiveness, though it only remains as a strong desire and not something I actually get to act out. I suppose I have anger management issues. 2.
You suppose? There's more.
Possibly as a direct result of that, I sometimes randomly daydream about being violent to other people.
Alright, yeah, no, this guy's psycho.
Never without reason. In my fantasies, the one I'm hurting is always someone who did me wrong, most often a thief or intimate harasser or some kind of criminal. In the Dark Ages, it was always one of the bullies, but now that there's nobody bullying me, it's directed towards other bad people. I imagine being robbed or harassed and then throwing some sadist party at the wrongdoer in all sorts of gruesome ways. It does awaken that evil feeling, but it feels really good and calms me down for some reason. Of course, I'm not sure if I could actually bring myself to do it IRL, considering that most thieves would probably be armed. Would I really fight back? Or is it all in my head? Aside from all of that, the tipping point which really made me think of posting this was something that happened just a while ago. My boyfriend showed me a video of a pet tarantula eating live mice. He was disgusted, and yet I was fascinated. He said he felt sorry for the mouse squeaking helplessly, getting its bones crushed, and its blood spilling out. But it wasn't being shown in the video, and I was actually disappointed because I wanted to see it.
What?
I think I actually sort of enjoyed watching it being eaten. I love animals now, I really do, and I thought I left behind the feeling of animal cruelty, and yet this happened. I'm sorry if this all sounds so edgy, but I promise you, this is legitimately how I feel. I like to think that in the end,
believe you,
this
bro.
very violence is what could save me from harm that may come my way, but I don't know. It's really, really weird because I do think of myself as a good person. I genuinely try to
they always do.
Be best to be, and my friends think I am. I live for all the good things in this world, and I wish for nothing more than people living in peace. So in some way, I guess maybe this is sort of a warped sense of justice thing. A fight fire with fire kind of feeling. A desire to rid the world of evil, even if it means doing evil myself. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm conflicted myself because I believe in both. Bad people should be unalived ASAP, free the world of vermin, and someone should be painted as a bad person for one thing they did wrong. People should be given a chance to grow and change. My mind can't make—
Yeah, you just fucking contradict yourself, bro. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you.
Myself up. What do you guys think? Is
That
it
you're
something I
psycho.
should be concerned about?
Yes.
I've always thought about talking to a psychiatrist about it or
Please.
something, but the thought of
I like Psych Ward a little
bringing
bit
that
more.
up to someone IRL kind of makes me anxious. This has bothered me from time to time for so many years. So this one was pretty long, but I feel like I needed to leave it in because it's very crazy. These confessions about animals are just really dark and sad, but potentially the worst part about it is a lot of these people will go on to do horrible things to humans or just fantasize about them. Either way, it's really bad. I am stalking my old teacher.
Oh, this is getting fun.
I've graduated now, but it started a year ago. I've known her for 2
Oh, God. Oh, my God. You've been doing this for a year?
years. Her and I were very close. She knew almost everything about me. I trust her, and I told her a lot of deep and personal issues that I have, and she helped me so much. I had major breakdowns and cry in front of her, and she comforted me and helped me through it. She knew how messed up I was, but still made a lot of effort to see me improve and get better, and she wanted me to become someone who I was proud of.
Yeah, that's because it's her fucking job.
She wasn't like every other teacher. A lot of students didn't like her, but they didn't hate her either. It's just that no one knows how awesome she really is when you actually get to know her.
Oh my God. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Oh, this one's gonna be bad. I'm so scared.
I talked to her almost every day for an hour or two my last 2 years, and we got to know a lot about each other. We told each other almost everything. I know a lot more than she thinks I know because of social media. She keeps hers very private, but I did lots of digging and found a lot, and she felt comfortable. She would show me pictures about her life and vice versa. Sometimes when she would tell me stuff about her family, I knew exactly who she was talking about, what they looked like, etc. She didn't care much for her job as she used to, which is why I think we got so close. Otherwise, she wouldn't put so much effort into getting to know a student. She would tell me how she hated her job and she wanted to quit and pursue something else. It felt like she was my only real friend throughout high school. I know that whole teachers shouldn't be friends with students thing. When we first started talking, she told me the area she lived in because she moved and I asked her where. One day last year, just before I went to work, I decided to drive to that area just to see if maybe I could find her house, and I did. Her car was parked on the driveway. I was shocked that I had actually found it, and I got really scared and nervous, but I kept on doing it multiple times a week.
Oh, what is wrong with you?
One day she told me she was having a party, and I jokingly asked if I could come, and she told me that I had to find out where she lives. I don't know if she said that as a joke, or if she actually wanted me to, or because she knew that I knew. I obviously didn't go, but I still wonder what would have happened if I did show up. Maybe I did in an alternate universe. Then it got worse, where I would drive the same route as her to get to school.
Yo! What the? Oh my fucking god!
I always stayed a couple of cars away when we were further away from the school, but close to school, I would be beside or behind. I don't think she ever noticed until I wanted her to. I still drive by multiple times a week and sometimes just sit in my car for hours and watch her house from far. I know it's terrible. I betrayed her by doing this for so long, but I can't stop. I just want to make sure she's okay. I haven't seen her since I left school, and I want to go visit her, but I don't want to at the same time to hopefully forget about her and stop. I'm so stupid. I hope I get what I deserve. I can't imagine how much worse this could get. One user on Reddit says,
Yeah, I mean, he seems like he feels really bad for doing it, but also, like, you're fucking weird.
In part, she has betrayed her authority over you by sharing so much regarding how she hated her job, sharing her life with you, and knowing that you know where she lives. Abusing that authority is kind of taking advantage. Some people love drama. Do you really want to be sucked into that? Try to look at it from a different perspective, and you may find that you dislike her greatly now. OP replies, I've never felt that she betrayed me. All she has done is help me through some really bad times. She never sucked me in. There were weeks where I had my bad moments, and I shut her out, and she gave me space. She doesn't like drama. She's always laid back and minded her own business. She didn't care what others thought of her. Another user says, figure out where she gets coffee or shops and run into
yeah, no. Let's not encourage the stalking, yeah?
outside of school. Now you're an adult and could have an adult friendship. The obsession needs to be addressed in counseling. And the OP replies saying, I don't know if I'm ready to see her yet. I don't want her thinking I'm too dependent on her. I'm afraid she'll ask me what's going on in my life because I haven't done anything. No post-secondary. I don't want her to feel disappointed in me or herself for trying so hard to help me, only for me to become a worthless piece of...
Dude, he hates himself.
Once again, a very, very weird confession and very unhealthy. Just the obsession and the stalking is just very crazy. And with that, that is going to be the end of today's video.
Yeah, that was a really good video.
If you guys enjoyed this one, make sure you leave a comment. I love hearing what you guys have.
Alright. I'm going to end the stream. That was fucking insane. I wasn't expecting that from that video at all. I'm gonna go live tomorrow again. I think I'm gonna try and figure out something that we could do as a group. I think I'm gonna try and get some people together for a Jeopardy stream, if it's possible. So we might be doing that tomorrow, maybe a different day. But I will be live tomorrow, I promise. The car problem still isn't fixed, so the stream times might be a little bit inconsistent, but I am going to go live. The time is just going to be pretty inconsistent. But that was a good stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow.